What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Game Over Greggy Show. I am one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside the producer/seducer, Nick Scarpino.
What's up, everybody?
What's up, everybody? Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Seducing me already. You got one hair out of place. I want to push it in for you.
Don't pull it, though, because I don't have a lot of it left.
You don't have a lot to lose, I hear.
No, I'm not like this guy over here.
You mean the pure one, Tim Gettys?
You got a lot of hair.
And then, of course, the Pride of Long Island, Colin Moriarty.
Both of you guys have
you got a lot of hair, too.
Yeah, I do. Got the Italian hair.
You should grow it out again. Remember when you used to do that?
Yeah, I do remember.
Oh, you have gray hair when you grow out.
Yeah, I have a beautiful afro, but I don't think Cheryl would like that very much.
Whatever. You're not married to her yet.
That's true.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Game Over Greggy Show. Every week, 4, sometimes 5 best friends gather around this table, each bringing a random topic of conversation for your amusement. If you like that, you can get the MP3 uncut, unedited, sometimes it's edited, over at GameOverGreggy.bandcamp.com for $1 each and every Friday. If we're not worth that dollar, you can go over to youtube.com/GameOverGreggy Monday through Thursday. Every topic's broken out one by one for you until the whole show posts on Friday. Of course, buy t-shirts. This is the new Team Fat shirt. You can get it over at districtlines.com/GameOverGreggy.
That's a sexy shirt.
It's a great
You
shirt.
like that? It's a really good one.
That's the best one we have.
I agree. You're going to buy it. This is going to be the first shirt you buy.
Yep, I haven't bought any of the
kicking
shirts.
back to this business.
Yeah.
Don't even buy the one with your name on it.
It doesn't make any sense. Like I own a piece of this.
Yeah.
And then we pay the shirt company.
Yeah.
Then they give us the money back. It seems like I should just get the shirt for free.
I agree with that. That'd be nice. Yeah, we just have a bad negotiator.
We do.
He's just not good at what he does over here.
Who are you looking at? The wall?
I'm looking at the producer/seducer. He was doing the funny
Not
thing.
slash negotiator.
No, not slash
It's
negotiator.
producer/seducer, not producer/contact negotiator.
Lawyer.
Liar.
Next thing we need to cover, of course, this is Portillo. Everybody knows him. Everybody look at this bow tie Christine bought Portillo.
Some of your water.
He is... Okay, go
Can I
ahead.
take some?
He is adorable. He now has a bow tie. You can catch him sporting in his new Bark Box unboxing. Colin, grab the toy out of my crotch and hide it from him because he's stupid. Nope.
Put it by the goats.
Good job. Good
Put it
job.
by the goat.
Yep. Okay, good.
Wait.
Oh, I see what you're doing. I see what you're doing. This is how we'll get him to stop squeaking. Now, he will be sad the entire show, but fuck him, he's a
You'll
dog.
see it, but he won't be able to get it.
No, he's stupid.
You dumb bitch.
We have a lot of housekeeping. There's a lot of housekeeping.
I'm happy to be back.
cover. First, yeah, that was the first piece of housekeeping. You're
Welcome
back.
back, Tim.
You were gone last
I was
episode.
gone.
We had to get that Jeff Gersman fella to fill in for you. He was good. Thanks,
Sad I
Jeff.
missed that.
Yeah, Jeff was great.
Yeah. Where were you?
I was at RTX.
Right. We were there
at the
too.
Rooster Teats.
But you were like pre-RTX,
Austin.
right? You went there just to like scope stuff out for us.
Yeah, I was scoping it out for you guys, see how we could infiltrate.
Yeah.
We did
Learn
it
a thing
too.
or two. Yeah.
We infiltrated great. We went to
good.
RTX. 4th of July weekend. Pour me some of that Slim. Fantastic show. Thank you to everyone for coming out to support us at RTX. I was coming home. The first thing I talked about to Colin about it because he was the one gentleman who had to miss it. I was blown away that at the Game Over Greggy panel, everyone talked to us about Game Over Greggy things. It wasn't about IGN. It wasn't really about video games. It wasn't about the Gauntlet that much. There was some of it, obviously, but the majority of it was just like everything we do on the show, which was awesome to see how much crossover. Only 7 people in that room didn't know. We were didn't watch the Game Over Greggy show.
Yeah,
that
They
blew my
randomly
mind.
stumbled in and were like, who are
Oh,
these
is
people?
that fat guy? Awesome.
I thought I was going to see
Man.
Colin Moriarty here.
You ever think your head's a cheeseburger, man? No. Then his eyes rolled out of his head.
Greg, enjoy the Henry McKenna single barrel bottled in
We're killing
bond from our friend Eric Castro, Play Provisions in San Diego.
Right.
This is hand selected for us, barreled 3421. Good stuff. We have 8 more bottles of that. And
smells
by the
tasty.
way, so you guys can take them if you want. 2 of the bottles are each. You guys
I'll take one home with me tonight, but I'll keep one here because I feel like
I'll
you
just
guys are going
drink
to
it.
go through it. It's
Yeah,
okay.
we're destroying these things.
Yeah, we're going through this one. Greg and I drink a lot,
I know this
and you
about
would too. What?
I know this about you.
You should be.
You drink a lot.
I do drink quite a
I see
bit.
this. Yeah.
Before we get too far off the topic,
That's all right though.
RTX. We recorded our entire podcast. If you missed it, it went up on Sunday. Link is in the description, so go click on it.
It was featuring our good friend, Barbara Dunkelman.
Barbara was awesome, by the way.
Barbara was amazing. The link is in the description. Thank you. We're trying to get better at putting the links in because
I'm not used to having to actually do anything.
we're slowly adding on tasks for you to do with this show. Now, that was the past. Barbara was fantastic.
Yes.
So thank you so much, Barbara Dunkelman, for doing that, being there. Of course, she's no stranger to the GameOverGreggy.com. She was over there on. She did a Gregway with us, our most successful Gregway of all
She taught
time.
us a couple things.
She what now?
She taught us a couple things.
Oh, how to draw dicks. Yeah, links in the description. You don't need to time code them either. Just
I
tell
don't?
me what segment they're in, because I'm not annotating, because nobody clicks on annotations. I'm just putting the links in the description.
So is this dick thing a different thing?
Yeah, there's the Barbara was in the panel from RTX.
Dick.
And then she drew dicks with me for Game Over Greggy.
Dick's video.
Yeah,
oh
yeah.
yeah, I remember that. Dick's
Yeah, yeah.
video. Parentheses. Intro.
Good job. Good job. There you
Damn.
go. Look at you're nailing it. You're doing it. Look at you.
God, I'm good. I went to college.
So that was the past. Now it's time to talk a little bit about the future, ladies and gentlemen. If you are listening to this on the Friday of its release, or the Monday of its release, or any time really, I guess, my appearance on Geek and Sundry is about to go live. I was lucky enough to go over there and play Magic with them. I played Magic the Gathering for a show called Spell Slingers. It was fantastic. It's a great time. Thursday, July 17th. I didn't throw cards like that.
That's what it looks
though.
like
They
when you
just slinging
sling a spell,
spells,
man.
Like
That's
Spider-Man.
the Harry Potter
But not
sort
instead
of
of
jumper.
webs.
You know.
Yeah, just like that. Anyways, July
Just like Michael
17th,
Jackson there.
I pop up there on Geek and Sundry, the new season of Spell Slingers. It looks like this. Then we're going to put down this guy. I hope you're ready for some clerical work, because here comes my human cleric. I'm excited to play him. It seems like he's going to go out and do what I need him to do, which is beat the snot out of Sean and heal me, because clearly I'm going to need it. I like the cleric. He's got a cool outfit going on. When he looks so happy, right? He's got his arms outstretched with just this chain. He handcuffed himself in chains.
No, it's for long distance hugging.
Oh, okay.
Perfect.
Just like my uncle used to do. I'm done with my turn.
Beautiful.
Wow, that looks like a fun time.
That looks awesome.
I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm
I'm
pretty
jealous
funny on
that
this
you
show.
were a part of that and I was not.
You should have learned how to play Magic, because I didn't know how to play.
What did you do?
I went there and I played Magic.
The
Gathering. With the new cards from
Have you heard about this?
I've heard about the game.
Magic
It's a small
15.
game from the 90s.
I used to play in those.
Well, here's the thing. Before we get any further, they have brand new cards for the new round of Magic. You know, they release new cards, Tim.
Yes.
You might be aware of Magic
Yes.
cards are a big deal.
I am
We're
familiar.
giving those away, everybody.
A booster pack?
Yes, if you want your chance
Really?
to win signed booster packs.
That's exciting.
How do
you
I
just
win
need,
that?
you need to comment below
Yeah.
on this video.
Okay.
What should they comment, Nick?
If you could sling one thing.
Yeah.
What would you
What would
sling?
you sling? We'll pick someone at
Crack.
random.
We'll pick I'll pick a few of you at random. I'll respond in the comments. You'll need
Sounds
to check
good.
back to see if I've responded to your comment. I'll do
Yeah.
it all on the first day. That is Monday that this video goes live. If you're listening to the MP3, you have the inside edge now to go back there. Do it.
Just comment away.
Also, and this is another big thing too, since you're a GameOverGreggy show fan, you're a fan of all of us. On July 17th, you need to go to Geek and Sundry, watch the show, thumbs up it, and say something cool about me, so they understand I'm a big deal
Yeah.
or a deal.
You're a big deal.
Do the
I
whole
think- I think they brought
at
me
Game
in, they
Over
were like-
Greggy you sent me and stuff like that.
There you go.
'Cause- and
Sure,
it
that's
thumbs
what-
that up a lot.
We'll say at GameOverGreggy sent me. That's a good one.
Keep it simple.
All right.
Yeah, keep it
Talk
simple.
about goats.
Go over there and say GameOverGreggy sent me. That's all you gotta do. You can make a
And then go like this.
You
No,
can
that's
make
not
a,
what a goat
you can make a
that's
sly
not the
comment to
goat
goats
sound.
if you want. I wouldn't
What's
suggest
a goat sound like?
Well,
'Cause they eat
sheep's
stuff.
ba.
What's a goat?
Goats yell. There's that goat screaming. That's a chicken.
That's what they sound like.
That's not it.
Remember that first time you and I bonded and we watched that cool Taylor Swift video and then there was a goat in the middle of it?
That was not one.
That
we
was
first
the
bonded.
time you guys bonded.
Guys, it's a show. You got to go with it.
But
Okay?
like,
We're making
I
a
listened
show
to
for
improv.
people. That's improv. You want to start again?
Sure.
Remember that time you and I were shirtless and we were like pantsless and we were watching that Taylor Swift video?
Yeah. Those were the days.
Those were awesome.
That was a good improv. That's real good stuff,
Man.
guys.
We continued the story
Fucking Colin
the way it's supposed to go.
Mockery. Not Moriarty. Ryan
Colin
Stiles.
Colin Mockery.
Yeah.
Nick,
Yeah.
why don't you start this week's with
All
a
right.
topic?
Do we want to talk about our awesome
Yes. So as,
failure to plan
you've
properly?
noticed on this YouTube channel, ladies and gentlemen, we have the best intentions, but
We're
we are
super organized.
We are very much learning as we go. So last week, man, we thought we were moving to the next generation of the GameOverGreggy
Oh,
show.
we're taking
We're
it to
like,
the level.
Nick
User
always-
engagement.
Nick always picks a listener topic. So now we'll have the listeners vote on which listener topic they want. It'll be dynamite. We totally neglected the fact that we put him last in the order, which means his topic posts on Thursday, and of course the GameOverGreggy show records on Wednesday.
So we have no idea what you guys are going to pick.
Yeah,
for next
there's
week.
no way to tell who voted on what. So we screwed it up.
We're gonna wait a week on that, so
Right.
please go check out the video on Thursday. Make sure you watch both of the annotated videos, and like the one that you want to be the topic for the next week. It's all self-explanatory, and one of them's 30 seconds, one of them's like 900 minutes. You'll see that one. Meanwhile, this week though, I'm going to go with another title that was submitted by Twitter. So if you remember, guys, if you have topics, please follow me at Nick_Scarpino on Twitter and tweet me your topics for the GOG show. Nickel, I can't even say this guy's name, but he says, "Hi, I have a topic for the show. If you really,
We want to know. We want to know who you are.
well, it's Nick.
Let me try.
It's
Let me
Nick.
take a
I'm
shot.
sorry. You know what? I read it wrong. It's Nicholas. It's actually Nicholas Berton.
you
but it's
can't
spelled,
read your own name.
It's spelled. It's spelled Nick.
Baritone? Beer tone?
Nick.
Bertone.
LAS, which I've never seen that before. Anyway,
Bert one.
What's his name, Nicholas?
I've never seen it before. It sounds powerful and mysterious. If you're the only person left alive on the planet, describe your first week.
Okay. I know the first thing I'm doing. Remember in the 90s there was the Nickelodeon, the shopping cart, you get to go to Toys R Us.
Right.
Shit, and you have 5 minutes. I would do that. I would time myself for 5 minutes. I'd do the exact plan I always had in my head. Go straight to the Legos, get the big Legos in, go straight to the video games after that.
Now, when you
wouldn't
say
have to time
big
yourself
Legos,
5
do you mean
minutes.
like the big block Legos or the big sets of Legos?
The big sets of Legos.
He's figured out where the toys.
Let him try to get
the $100
Smart you
packages.
are.
Yeah.
Get all those guys in there. Go straight over to the video games. Grab all the pieces of paper. Put it in. Do all that stuff. It'd be genius.
Why would you need the paper?
Because this is a dream I've had.
Oh, okay.
And you gotta
Oh, you gotta get the paper so that by the end it buzzes and then they give you all
by
the
5
games.
minutes, and then I'd go and do it the right way. Even though I'd then have to do a little bit of role playing because there's no one to help me trade.
Yeah, like how would
papers.
you get into the back room to get the video games or like unlock the little cabinet?
There's no one there.
Yeah, I know.
There's no monsters either, right? This is just it's over.
I think it reminds me of that Twilight episode with Burgess Meredith where he's the last man alive.
Finally, this time.
Finally,
That's
so
one of
much
the great
time to
episodes.
read.
This
It's
isn't
fan-
fair.
I like you said the Twilight episode. I know you meant Twilight Zone, but I instantly thought of Twilight.
Oh, that's a Freudian slip. I've been thinking a lot about Twilight lately.
Oh,
A
really?
lot about Twilight. So you go. Your first instinct would be run to Toys R Us.
Yes.
Raid Toys R Us.
Yes, in 5 minutes.
Play. Why?
You
Why
need
is
your
that?
timer.
You got all the time. You got a whole
Authenticity,
week.
dude. Authenticity.
All right.
Wait,
No, I have
I'm
a lot to do
confused.
with
You're
it.
the last person on Earth for 1 week?
No, you're the last person on Earth. What would your first week? What would you do in the first week?
Okay. So what am I doing in my first moments?
Yeah, like I mean, you've got 5
'Cause
days
he's
of
just- now
realizing
he's gonna get
that
more noisy.
you're never gonna have human contact again.
Yeah.
Tim's first instinct is to completely disregard that fact and go straight to a Toys R Us
Well,
to get some Legos.
that's not disregarding much.
Sure,
To build Legos for the next week.
that's pretty awesome. I mean, it's a good pastime. It's one of the best pastimes. It's
That
very
would be a good
American.
pastime in the apocalypse.
It's America's pastime.
I have a question.
Yeah.
A few questions. So we're the last human. Is there other threats?
Goats.
I mean, I'm assuming it's like
Animals,
After Earth, where
zombies.
there's like giant lions that would eventually.
Well, they're in the zoo.
Yeah, but they're gonna try to get out because they're hungry.
Yeah, they're gonna die.
Yeah.
I don't
So
know
you
if they
gonna
can
save
just
them?
try to get
No,
out.
hell no.
No, you're gonna let the
Yeah.
lions die.
Yeah.
We saw that in The Last of Us.
Yeah, but there was something going on there. In this scenario, I'm imagining everyone disappears, like Rapture, pretty much.
Yeah.
And like I have to imagine The Last of Us, for idiot infected people were going back there. The zookeepers got infected, and they were like, "Oh, I'm gonna save these animals and let them loose." That was stupid. I understand. How the hell do you get out of a zoo?
I don't know. You have
It's
to
not
ask
like
an
there's
animal
some.
in a zoo.
It's like there's some timed gate where like a human has to come by every day and turn a key or press a button for
The
it.
penguins just come out.
Yeah,
all
yeah,
pissed
exactly.
off.
Everything just gets out. That's not how it works.
That's a good point.
Okay.
So, I mean, my assumption is that there's no real imminent threat.
Yeah, I think you literally just wake up, like Greg said, and there's not another human being inside.
It's just life.
That's it.
I would just.
You were just the only person left.
I would love to just go into people's houses, just see what was
See what
going
they
on.
did?
Like if it was really like the Rapture and people just disappeared out of nowhere.
What would be the first thing you do in a person's house? Would you go through like their bed to table drawers or something? Or
I would love to just one of the most fascinating things to me about Chernobyl, which is the place in Russia where
yeah,
the
yeah.
nuclear
also a really good beef jerky.
Chernobyl.
flavor.
Really? No way. There
Is
is
it?
not a Chernobyl beef jerky
There are
flavor.
a lot of people when they make like the super hot beef jerky, they call it Chernobyl.
That actually
Seen
might
it?
be true. Actually,
It's awesome.
I was gonna say right. They'd be like 9/11 beef jerky.
Yeah.
Not Chernobyl was a long time
And
ago.
we don't care about Chernobyl.
Not that long ago
It's
though.
in like the 80s.
Yeah, what?
But anyway, one of the great things about Chernobyl is that they had to evacuate that place after the reactors melted down. And so like people left like out of nowhere, and people sneak in there all the time. And they do guided tours now, whatever, but like people's lives were just left in stasis in their apartments. So like there's set tables. Like people were going to sit down
That's
for dinner,
so
like, and they
trippy.
just bounced. And you go there 20, 30 years later,
Coloring
and that
books
stuff
and
is
shit.
still that stuff's still just there. Yeah. And like so if it was really like the Rapture, it'd be cool to just see like what people were doing or how things were.
Yeah.
As everything went to shit.
Here's my question for you then, even expanding on this more, Colin. Now we're into the Walking Dead territory. Would you start trying to figure out what happened? Would you be like going to CDC and you're like,
Yeah, I mean, I absolutely would, because what the hell else am I going to do?
Yeah.
If there's no one
Well,
to talk to,
you can't play with Legos.
if there's no threat and no one to talk to, it's like you got to figure out something. So, I would definitely travel the country.
See, I see Colin just going to these houses, seeing things all set, like placed and stuff, and you just sit there and just look at it, and then get visions of like what.
Do you think Colin would sit and role play in the
Yeah,
seats
exactly.
and
Just like,
How was your
there's a
day,
cup
dear?
there.
Can you pass me the peas?
Gets
No
up, walks
mustard.
Gets up, walks to the other end of the table.
Yeah.
Yes, dear. Gets up, walks.
I mean, I have all the time in the world. What the hell else am I gonna
What
do?
else are you gonna do?
Real quick, was one of the characters in there Bane? Yes, dear.
Yes, dear.
Yes.
I expect you
Colin
to
would just turn into Bane. Let's be honest. He'd just start talking to himself like, "Do you want to go to Kmart?" Yeah, let's go to Kmart. With my
I gotta get up at the table though and say that. Yes, Bane, I'd like to go to Kmart with you. Okay.
Is he putting
fire
the mask
eyes.
on and off as he does this?
Yeah, he's got it.
No, I think he's just doing what everyone else does. You make your hands the mask. Yes, I'd like to do that with you.
No one cared about me until I went to Kmart.
It's the red light special.
See, I would gather supplies, I think. And not Legos. I'd want to go load up on canned goods and whatnot. Because I'd always be afraid there were going to be more people. I would never be able to let my
okay.
guard down as my
Right.
thing.
Because
That makes sense.
Like, you're good. There's a lot of canned food in this world.
Yeah,
So
oh, I
that's a
know.
lot.
But
Don't
yeah,
get me
you're-
wrong.
you're
I'm just
right.
saying
If
I'm going to
If
gather.
you're not sure you're the only one, I can see that.
You'd never have to worry about transportation, right? Because you just. Well, I guess you would
Wouldn't
have
you
eventually.
always have to worry about transportation?
Well, no, because you just go find another car.
Yeah, if you were the only person left, you would never run out of anything.
For at least 2 to 3 years, and then the cars would probably their batteries would die, and then you'd be screwed.
Sure, but there's
batteries
new.
die.
There's gonna be new like, dude, like if you were literally the only sentient, self-aware thing in the world, like you would not need anything.
It's
Yeah,
true.
but
'cause
I'm really
gas doesn't really
stupid,
go
though.
bad. Does
Like
it?
I could, if I was the only person, I would be.
I think you'd be fine.
No, I'd
You'd
be
have
good.
unlimited canned goods.
Yeah,
canned goods
but-
don't go bad for a
But
really
like
long
trying
time.
to figure out how to open the canned goods and cook them without.
With a can opener.
What,
I
what the
guess
fuck are
there's
you
power.
talking about?
See, I don't know. In my head, eventually, whoever's running power is going to
good
stop
point.
running
Okay,
power.
okay,
I'm not going to have to
okay.
turn that
Yeah,
shit
well,
back
eventually
on.
the power plants will shut down because there'll be some sort of malfunction, and they'll just
so
stop.
then I'm fucking screwed.
Then you could spend that time. It would take years for that to happen. You could spend time because a lot of them are hydroelectric and stuff. As long as you don't shut them down, these conceivably should go for decades. And
That's when the me and my stockpiling comes in handy.
well,
you
you
just
could
go
just like
find
get a
it and you're at
series
the
of
hydroelectric
generators, like a bunch of
Generators.
gas, like just all like you'd be fine. You have a own little compound. I think the biggest thing you'd have to overcome is loneliness.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
What
You
are
might
we-
have to think about offing yourself at some point because it's like, what's the point, really? You know. But you could have the Burgess Meredith, style, kind of thing of being like, there's time at last to do what I want. I can read. I can do it. I can.
I'd be bored.
The internet would probably actually. God, how would all that work? Without an EMP going off, the electricity would still work, but the internet, I guess, would eventually shut down. Slowly.
Eventually, yeah.
Servers and stuff go off.
Not worth
yeah.
it.
But if you were on
I'm out.
Twitter, but that's the thing. If you were on Twitter, you'd tweet and no one would get back to you, so you know you were the only person on the
Wouldn't
planet.
want
It
You
sounds like
post on Facebook, no one would get back to you. But like,
this sounds like a
everyone's
great
done.
short story or like a great plot. Like you do so, like you think you're the only person left. You're doing little social network things over years at a time, and then suddenly like person starts.
There's one. Yeah, someone likes a Facebook.
You're like,
comment.
what?
That was actually a plot in Red vs. Blue.
Was
Where,
it?
yeah, they start a social media thing and like they're in the future and no one does shit. And it pretty much just what you said. It was funny.
But then the question would be if they were in another country, and like the phones weren't working potentially. You can only communicate via the internet. I guess you could still just Skype them, but that would still work. But how would you get to them? Because how would you span an entire ocean?
You wouldn't.
Yeah, it's like
I mean, I
would
guess
say-
you could
over
read
there.
how to use a boat.
You could. I mean, you could do it. I mean, this is the thing. Like, you could do it. You can get like some sort of yacht with a big engine, take a bunch of gas with you, hope for the best.
see, that's my thing. Would you be able to be like, I know how to drive this yacht?
I think you would have the
But the thing
ability
is,
to figure it out.
You could pull it out, and if you banged into something and it sank, you just get out and go to the next yacht.
I guess you're right.
Like you have 40 yachts. There's like a 30 yachts sitting over
Yeah.
there in the marina near where I live. I would jack
You play it
those
too easy
baller
though.
one.
It's not like all the keys are right there. Those keys are in people's pockets that are
Yeah,
not on the
that's the
ground.
thing.
They've been raptured.
There's no way I'm jacking a yacht and driving this yacht. Driving? Is driving right?
yeah, I mean,
Pilot. You
pilot
pilot
a
it. Yeah,
boat.
you pilot
You
it.
pilot boats?
Yeah, you pilot boats.
I guess.
That's why they call them captains.
Interesting.
Captain.
There's no way I'm piloting this boat to my friend in whatever other country.
What if it were a sweet, and I'm talking like jacked up sweet Miami Vice, like cigarette boat? Is it a cigar boat? Cigarette.
I don't think the boat is the problem
like
here.
the go fast. They call them go fast boats because they go fast.
Is that what they call them? That?
Yeah, sick.
I wouldn't even worry about it if there's another person on the whatever. I'm not gonna save everything.
What if it's a hot chick and you're like, this is the only person I
I'm
have
Adam and you're Eve?
to like repopulate the earth?
I'd be like, why don't you get a boat? Huh?
You come
No,
to me.
that's what she.
Oh,
she
she
goes.
This is like a
both
weird
ways.
catfish situation.
What if she goes? She calls you and she's like, or she Skypes you and she's like, hey, we should meet. We should be together in person because we'll last longer if we're together. Like we won't go psycho and like we'll be able to like do stuff together, like touch each other's fun parts and stuff.
Yeah.
And She's like, all right, and then but you have to. She's in like Prague, and you have to figure out a common country to get to together.
This is the way you do it. She goes east through Russia.
Through Russia?
Yeah, all the way to, the eastern edge of Russia. You go west.
That's really far, though.
Towards the United States, up into Alaska. Then you can cross the Bering Strait, which is not that big of a deal. It's from the Aleutian Islands to Russia. It's like you can see them from each other.
Yeah.
So it's like
Russia
you
from
could just get into a boat.
So you're
the
using,
go-fast
you're using
boat.
science and a map.
Yeah, more
Google
geography.
Maps.
but-
See, I
Google
wouldn't even
Maps
think to
still
look
work?
at maps. I guess you could be literally like by
Google would
car.
probably still work.
You could be like Google it and see if you could get there by car.
Yeah.
That'd be
or even
hysterical.
walking. They have a little walk, the little dude.
Yeah. It would take you 78 years.
If you Skyped and she was in Prague and you were in, say, New Orleans, you could, if you both just left at that point and got into a car and figured it out, you'd see each other in a couple weeks.
Yeah, but how would you cross the ocean?
She would have to get a boat
Yeah.
in one of the ports in eastern Russia.
See, if I can get a video
I don't know
shot
that
of her, I think I'm good with
I don't
that.
know. Of course you are.
It's a little
Tim.
the cyber sex.
Of course
thing.
you are. But like, what's your hand doing? I don't know that I'd be ballsy enough to take a boat, to sail a boat or pilot a boat across the Atlantic
Sail.
Ocean.
That's-
I mean, it would be a last resort for me. I really wouldn't. If I'm to the point of thinking about offing myself, then I'd be like, what would I have to lose? You know what I mean? Have a
Right.
gun, one in the chamber. Right? I'd have a lot of guns.
Like a flare
actually.
gun.
I mean, at the
I would
same
have so
time-
many guns because it's
Yeah.
cool. And then whenever
you're
you
not
wanted to,
doing shit.
you could just shoot guns at something. No one's gonna care.
Well, yeah, but also for protection. They're still animals. We decided, right?
Yeah, but like wolves, maybe.
Yeah.
They're not
Those
gonna
things
come
are gonna
at
screw with you. Yeah, they are.
I mean, it's not like Game of Thrones.
Well, sure, but they're still gonna come for you.
Fair
The
enough.
other thing to worry
The
about
wolves
is like
will get you.
the stupid thing bringing you down, right? Like you get pneumonia. You get some.
Oh.
You get some. It's something innocuous, right? You
See-
break your leg. You're like, well, fuck.
All the more
Yeah,
reason to
yeah.
have someone else there that can help you out and take care of you.
That's why I
But
have
of
my
course,
gun.
I guess we totally even blew past this topic because there is not a second person left on the planet. It's just you, and you only have 1 week before you probably start going psycho.
I don't know. I just think you got to keep yourself entertained. Like,
Yeah.
I would love to go to a military base and just fuck around with all their shit.
Yeah,
Get into a tank. We'll talk about boats. Get into a battleship, an aircraft carrier. See if you can
and just start
pilot
hitting
that motherfucker.
buttons. That would be that would be the business right there.
Like, what do you really have to lose?
I would play. I'd probably get into a jet airplane and just be like and do Top Gun the whole movie. I'd
That
probably
would-
play out the whole movie.
You'd probably
So,
crash
again,
on the
one man
runway.
play.
That's
No,
something.
wait, you didn't even get in the air, did you?
No, I wouldn't get in the
you
air.
were
I would
just
just
turning
get
it
in
on.
and pilot, like,
So it's like when you go to the arcade when you were a little kid and you didn't have the 50
Yeah, you didn't have a
cents
quarter,
to put
you
in
just
the driving game. So
screwed
you just
around with it anyway.
yeah.
Yeah, I would.
Cool.
I'd be like,
Go to
nah.
Cape Canaveral and try to launch into space. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, why not?
No,
You probably wouldn't. It probably
there's
wouldn't
no way. Like unless they all got raptured right as they were like about to hit the button.
work. It's
the
literally
go
just
button.
fuming, and you're like, well, I guess I can get up there. But then how are you gonna get back?
Nah, who cares?
You
At
don't
that
care.
point,
That's not a bad way to go. Going into
Then-
space.
That's a
Greg would
terrible
go-
way to go.
then
That's like
Greg-
the most terrifying way to go ever.
then Greg would go to Mars.
You get to
Suffocating in
see space.
space.
But yeah, you just
Space.
open the door and you're done. It's over. You die instantly, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's over.
Essentially, yeah.
That sucks. I would rather just live as long as I possibly can. Go a little stir crazy
Lot stir crazy.
and probably just die of some sort of flu.
Have some sort of volleyball friend.
Yeah, I would have Portillo. I mean, you could have dog.
Yeah.
You can have
like I Am Legend.
companionship.
Yeah.
You could have a monkey if you
have
wanted
a
to,
goat?
Greg.
I want a monkey.
You want a monkey?
I want a monkey.
You could train a monkey. You can
Sounds
steal a
good.
monkey from the zoo. A brand new monkey just born. You can train it to be your only friend. Call it Clive.
Clive
the
the
monkey. Easy peasy.
See, I'd want to go to like Pier 39. I don't know the equivalent in other places, but they have the trampoline.
Yeah.
With the harness you
Yeah.
go in, and then they charge you like $15 for like 5 minutes. Yeah, you just get to do that forever.
Yeah.
That'd be really
You,
cool.
and then you wouldn't have a technician there to do it. You'd immediately break something. Your rib punctures your lung.
yeah, but if you go out on that, you're good.
Slow and painfully.
I mean, the great part is you're like, wow, I had so much life to live, but realistically, you're like, it was gonna suck anyway. So
Yeah.
who cares?
Like, I would not want to
I'd
live.
probably
If
get
I was the only
super
person
fat.
on the planet, I would not want to live for longer than like 2 weeks. I give myself 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Interesting.
I would get. I think the first week I would spend would just be like letting myself go, because at that point, who gives a shit what you look like, how fat you are, what you're eating? It doesn't matter.
But I mean, you've got to move fast. I've thought about it. You know what I mean? Like,
From what the bear? Why do you swear there's bears coming out every single
I'm
around every
actually
corner?
going with you here on the team fat method
Okay.
of like it'd be cool to be able to eat pizza or whatever.
Oh,
but
I
like,
thought you meant you literally have to move fast.
no,
like an
I'm
exercise. I was
saying
like,
that
why would
like
you do that?
all that stuff's gonna go
Gonna go
bad
bad.
soon. You're never gonna have another piece of pizza.
Taco
you know
Bell,
what I mean?
right? I would go there every night until it started to smell a little funky. Like it's still the ingredients started to get bad. But like Taco Bell, everything's frozen, right?
Yeah.
And if there's still electricity, realistically, I could just go from taco to Taco Bell for like a good year. Just like, I mean, how hard is it to thaw out the meat? There's got to be some sort of like manual
There's
somewhere. at
definitely
Taco
things
Bell.
printed on the wall.
Yeah, I've seen it. It's not that hard. I would do that. I would do that up. Everything's frozen anyway. Then Carl's Jr.
I'd get supplies.
Yeah.
Canned goods, guns. Then I'd start barricading walls and stuff.
No, you would
Start
be
taking
that. You would
stuff
be
over.
that. Like you would barricade yourself in.
No, I would just your entire life would be, did something just move? Did I leave that door open? Blah, blah. I'd be like doing like spray painting. I'd be taking doors off hinges on other people's house. I'd be making like compounds.
Yeah.
I'd be walking with a fucking shotgun and a flashlight on it the entire time.
That's
Because
crazy.
nothing's going to jump around. I'm not like, because I mean, there's no guarantee that you're the only person there. Like
Yeah.
we know right now because we're playing God in this scenario, but like in that scenario, no idea if someone's about to come around, if aliens are about to come over, blah, blah, blah.
So
Zombies.
that's when the aliens come.
Maybe.
I mean, like,
Maybe
what-
that would cause everyone to leave.
I mean,
right?
I will be very red in the face if it turns out the rapture happens and I'm the only person not taken. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like
yeah.
I'm imagining somebody is up to something here,
Yeah.
and it ain't Jesus.
See, I think I would do the same thing. I might want to fortify, but I think I'd also be a little bit more. Like, I would be paranoid for the first week or two, or maybe even the first month, or maybe even the first year. But then after that, I would put I would go on, what is that, Telegraph Hill? What's the one with the big like arc reactor
Tower?
thing? Quake Tower? No, it's not Quake Tower. That's
The Suture
the
Tower?
big sky hook thing
The
that's
thing
going
that
into
looks
the
like
sky.
a boat on top of it?
It's like the.
Suture Tower.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
No, it's like a big telecommunications thing up there.
Yeah, Suture Tower.
Cool. I'd go there and then like I'd hang a giant sign that said like people here, just to see if anyone in like the 40-mile
And then you
radius
watch it
could
with
see
your
it.
sniper rifle.
Hell yeah, I would. And if they came near and they looked even remotely fishy, or not, maybe if they look cool, just blow them away anyway. Why not? It's like how that guy looks nice. Look at him, he's bouncing up and down on a trampoline with all his Nickelodeon games. Take his
With
head
all
off.
his Nickelodeon games. That's what he went from Toys R Us to the trampoline place, and he's
Yeah.
holding all his games while he
Yeah.
bounces, and you just blow him away.
Just take his leg right off and watch him
Dang,
bleed out.
God damn!
Did you shoot me in the leg?
Yeah, dude, I wouldn't kill you. I wouldn't put you in the head. This is the only entertainment I've had for an entire year. You show up, I got to put one in your leg, and then I'm using a high caliber rifle here. Let's be like maybe 2-3 people in the world can make this shot, but I'm one of them. And I take your leg clean off, and you hobble
Is
around.
that
for a
because you've been
second.
practicing?
Yeah,
Okay.
That's
Yours
because
might
he's one of the
naturally
only
get-
people in the world.
yeah. What else am I gonna do? And I watched the movie Sniper a lot with Tom Berenger.
Yeah.
Lethal Weapon. He was a sniper in that as well.
Play a little
Great
silent
films.
scope in your day.
100%. And then I just watched you bleed out for my entertainment. Portillo would probably be alive still. I'd come.
I was gonna say, would you send him out there
Portillo.
to get him?
Like if I knew that he was still alive in the city, I would get in my car and come over here and get him.
Portillo would be the first one to go.
It's a rapture. They're not gonna take the dog. We don't have
Oh,
enough
I am
space in
gonna- I'm
heaven.
gonna-
No, he's saying he'd kill him.
Oh, you'd kill him?
Yeah.
Would you really?
Oh, Vendetta.
No,
You just
Colin
strangle him
would
to
kill
death? How would you kill him?
Colin would take him. I bet.
I would
Colin take
probably
him.
let him. I don't know if I'd take him. I'd let him out of
Just
the
let
house.
him wild.
Yeah.
He would go 5 feet, run down the street, and then 20 seconds later come back and give you that vacant stare like he's hungry. That's about it.
Just wanna
Yeah, he'd
run in the
follow you.
opposite
He'd follow you the whole way.
Cool.
Cool.
Well, thanks, Nicholas Burton.
Well, maybe we
Baritone.
think that's your name. We're not 100%
Nikolai
sure what your
Baritone.
name is.
You're
We're-
the man. Thank you so much for watching the show. And remember, if you have questions for me, tweet them at me. Nick_Scarpino.
Colin,
Yeah.
what do you got?
I want to talk about drug legalization.
Yeah.
Smoke the W and kick the C.
Smoke the W. That's what all the
Cocaine?
kids say.
Yo, man, you smoked that W today.
First, though, I want to just give a quick shout out to
Drugs.
To drugs.
Shout out to drugs.
All the drugs and all the drug dealers and all the drug users. No, I want to. I want to give a shout out to my girlfriend Cheryl's sister Courtney.
What up, Courtney?
What up, Courtney?
Big drug user, I hear.
She watches the show for some reason, and her boyfriend does too, Philip, and it's his birthday. So
Aw.
I want to
Happy
give you
birthday,
a
Philip.
happy birthday, Phil, you son of a bitch. He's a Jets fan.
you buy him this shirt
They're
yet?
they're
I
back
thought
on
you
Long
liked the
Island.
Jets.
I do. I like the Jets.
So why you calling him a son of a
Because
bitch?
he's unrelated.
It's a term of endearment, just like scumbag.
Scumbag's not a term of endearment.
Not a term of
Some
endearment.
some
You guys
bitch.
are all my scumbags. You're all my
Some
scumbags.
bitch.
I'm
so
your
one of our,
scumbags.
one of our fans came up to us at the Rooster Teeth thing, and he pulled me aside and he was like, "It's causing me mental anguish that people think of me as a scumbag."
Is he gonna sue us?
He's not going to sue
I'd like
us,
to see you try, you fucking douche.
but he did say that Greg Miller has a lot. He's better than that, is what he said. He was like, Greg's better than that. He can come up with something better than scumbags. And I was like, well, this is a guy that wears shirts that say Team Fat. So chances are he's not coming up with something better. But I think we can.
I think
None
we
of
can
that
too.
story, true story. None of that actually
None of that
happened.
actually happened.
No.
So anyway, yeah. So happy birthday, Phil.
Happy birthday, Phil.
Happy birthday, Big Phil.
And yeah, so drug legalization. Now this is inspired by in Washington State, this past week they started selling marijuana legally. This was voted last year. The same thing in Colorado. They've been selling it since January 1st there, legally to anyone over the age of 21.
Okay.
And I just kind of wanted to gauge your guys' thoughts on the legalization of marijuana and also the legalization of other drugs. If you think the use of drugs should be criminalized, and kind of where you stand, if you think it should be kind of by drug or natural versus synthetic or something like that.
Mm-hmm. See, it's hard for me because I was never weed was never my thing, right? I always liked alcohol, so I feel like saying, hey, alcohol should be legal comes second nature to me because that is sort of my vice of choice. I do like to go out and drink. I do like to hang out with the guys and have a good time like that. Drugs have never been my thing, so I don't really it's not that I don't have an opinion about it. I don't think that we should limit people's access to certain narcotics, but for some reason, weed to me isn't on the same level as some of the harder drugs. I don't know why. I still think that they can be equally as destructive. But I also I don't know. Everyone has that, especially living in California and San Francisco. It's like weed. Everyone has that sort of concept that it's already sort of legal because they don't really penalize you here. If you're caught with it, I've heard people say cops don't even care. They let you go. So that doesn't seem even real to me. I don't know. Is that weird to say?
No, not necessarily.
So
it's not even an illegal substance because people don't care about it.
Why are drugs illegal?
Because they hurt you, or they have the possibility of hurting you, I guess, and also they're just contentious. They finally got over marijuana prohibition in those two states. Other states will follow suit. The die is cast with that now. That's over. Mm-hmm. I think it's that they can't make money off of it. Now they're figuring out how to do that. And just the whole moral conundrum of should you let something that is potentially harmful? Because marijuana, I agree, mushrooms, things like that are one right? level, but you get into heroin and cocaine and all that kind of stuff, and that is next level drug. And I've never used any of these drugs, never want to or whatever, but my stance is still that fundamentally I'm not sure the government should be telling you what you can do.
Well, that's my thing, right? Is because inevitably, or at the heart of it is hypocritical, because you cannot say we can't sell cocaine or meth or heroin because it's super bad and destructive for you, but in the same breath let big tobacco push cigarettes out to the street and let kids 18 and most of the time younger, because it's very easy for kids to get cigarettes. How is that still legal? How are cigarettes still legal and weed's not, right?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense. No. So it's almost one of those things, not that I'm advocating one or the other, but I could see the argument for just legalize everything, because at that point, that's who we are as a society. Why do we pick and choose cigarettes? Obviously, because they're the most powerful. The tobacco lobby is one of the most powerful lobbies in the universe, and they just have more money than everyone, so they can keep this drug on the streets that's killing people and killing teens and causing all sorts of horrible cancers. But at the same time, people aren't allowed to smoke weed. That just sounds silly. It sounds dumb. It's one of those things where I honestly believe 50 years from now, we're going to tell our kids that, or grandkids, and they're going to be like, no way. That's no way that's the way it used to be, Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting issue. I think it is a moral conundrum in a sense, because prohibition was a post-Civil War kind of movement that was largely driven by women, hand in hand with the suffragette movement about their husbands being drunk and kind of drinking the dole, as the saying was, and spending all their money, wasting all their money. And it was their hearts were in the right place to ban alcohol, but it just backfired because you just can't do something like that and expect to get away with it. I don't think tobacco should be illegal, obviously. I think that you kind of have to draw the line. I think that the use of any drug should not be illegal. So if you do coke or heroin or crack or whatever, I don't think the act of doing it should be illegal. I do think that the government can say, we can't in good faith let you sell coke. You know what I mean? The act of doing it shouldn't be illegal. Maybe even the act of buying it shouldn't be illegal, but the act of selling it should probably be illegal. And that is
But isn't that a half measure? How are you getting it otherwise? You're not making coke in your backyard.
Sure. But it's the same thing with you're talking about marijuana in San Francisco and a lot of places where it's decriminalized. You're not technically allowed to sell it. But they just don't arrest you for having it.
Well, at these places like Washington and Colorado, you go to a store and buy it?
Yep.
So, wouldn't that just be the same way with other stuff too?
Yeah, but the difference is that marijuana has never killed anyone. Yeah, so
see, that's my thing. We've talked about this in a conversation with Colin before. Links in the description. And what gets me about it is I'm with you that marijuana should be legal. Obviously, I've thought that forever. You know what I mean? Like, big deal. Marijuana. It's the same thing as anything, right? Like, what dulls your senses, maybe get in a car accident or whatever, but like, then booze should be, totally outlawed as well, right? So let's get marijuana out the door. Everybody's smoking marijuana. Great. Government should sell it, get us out of debt, stuff like that. But when you get down to cocaine and heroin and stuff, I've never for a second thought that any of that should be legal. Now, granted, I'm not a drug user, never have been, so I don't know. Like, I mean, like, I don't party with people who are doing that, so I'm not around to see it. But it seems like whenever they do it, bad decisions follow. You know what I mean? Like, do something stupid.
Well, also that it's the,
not all the time.
Those heavier drugs they have the stigma of being the heavy drugs for a reason, right? Like, people die sometimes the first time they do meth or coke because it messes with their brain chemistry and fries their brain, right? Or like, you hear those stories of people doing E, and the E was cut improperly and it messes people up forever. That happens. Very seldomly does that happen unless weed is laced with something, right? I don't think people are going to smoke weed for the first time. In fact, most of the time people smoke weed the first time, nothing happens. They're just like, I don't get this, right? I think it would be, I just, obviously my brain immediately goes to like the worst case scenario, and like all of a sudden cocaine's free to sell, everyone starts using it, and a lot of people start dying. I think that's not far off from what might actually start happening.
But I mean, so smoking, right? Like cigarettes,
right?
This whole weed's never killed anybody. Has smoking killed people? Like, does that?
Yeah, but they can't
battle that.
Yeah, they can't. So as far as I understand, there was like a few landmark studies about marijuana's effects on the body, especially the lungs and stuff like that. And as far as I can tell, it's hard for the scientists to differentiate the effects of smoking tobacco with smoking marijuana. I think it was the UCLA study in 2004, which was like really one of the huge ones, where they basically said like it doesn't have any effect on you. Where they were basically like, it's hard for us to tell because some people lace their marijuana with tobacco. They smoke them at the same time. Some people smoke cigarettes and marijuana. Some people only smoke marijuana. Some people used to smoke cigarettes. Now they only smoke marijuana. It's like, so how do we tell? Like what the long-term ramifications of smoking a substance is if you're mixing them all up. I think it's fair to say that if you smoke marijuana, you have a chance, like the tar, you're gonna get the same tar-related stuff, like emphysema and stuff like that. Like, I think that's probably
inhaling.
Yeah, exactly.
Something hot smoke into your lungs.
And as far as I understand, marijuana tar is much heavier, and there's a lot more of it per, I guess, whatever weight that you want to use, but that you smoke much less of it, so that when you're smoking a pack of cigarettes a day, half pack of cigarettes a day, you smoke a joint or whatever a day, a bong or a bowl or whatever. That's still, and a lot of people, there's potheads that do it every day, I guess, and there's a lot of people that do it casually. So there's like all these like things that I think that a lot of the pro marijuana people are thinking wishful that there's no ramifications
right.
of smoking. But I also think that like the whole scare tactic thing of like marijuana is going to kill you, I think that's silly too, because someone made a really good point. I was having this debate with someone, and they're like, if marijuana was going to make you sterile and marijuana was going to fuck your brain up and marijuana was going to do all these things, what do you think your parents' generation would look like right now? First of all, you probably wouldn't exist. There was like a huge boom with the baby boomers, right? Like the baby boomers having kids. They were a lot of them were hippies, potheads, all those kind of things. You think they would be rampant non-age related dementia and all those kinds of things, which you don't see. So like there's all sorts of things that say that when you compare marijuana to something like alcohol, marijuana is actually not nearly as destructive. So my whole stance is this, on a personal liberty kind of, this is where my libertarianism kind of comes out. I think you should be able to do whatever you want to your own body. So that means if you really want to do meth, you're dumb. But okay,
God,
like do what you want, I guess.
Meth is the worst. Don't do it.
I'm just saying, like, like it's your body. You hurt someone when you're on it. You rob someone to get money for it. That's a different story, and that is another one of the reasons that people don't want to encourage drug use because, and rightfully so, I think, because you commit crimes to pay for it. But at the same time, it's the same way I feel about prostitution. Like, prostitution should totally be legal. Like, that's not even a question to me. Because it's about doing what you want to do with your own body and kind of drawing your own lines and having your own self-respect or lack thereof, or whatever you define your self-respect as. But at the same time, I think the government should, step in and say, all right, we're cool with marijuana, maybe we're cool with mushrooms, we're cool with these other natural things. We really can't be cool with you doing meth and coke. We can't allow that to happen. So even though you can do it, if we find you buying it or if it's on you, that's a different story. And I think that that's kind of a reasonable stance to take. It's the same way I feel like, even though I'm a libertarian and like a small government guy, I think things like the FDA are awesome. And like you could tie it, like the FDA is cheap as shit and they do like really important stuff. They keep you safe. And that's a good function of government, because that's not your business. That's just saying like, hey, like this meat's tainted and you probably don't want to eat it.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. And so it's the same thing with me, or like these vegetables have pesticides on them. You might want to stay away from it. Like, that's totally fine. So if someone's someone's like, hey, this Coke, you can't do it, because we just can't sanction that.
Yeah, but like at the same time, it's like how do you trust anything that allows cigarettes to be sold? Like, they are bad. They don't make you feel good.
The lobby.
They're full of toxins, and they are readily and plentifully available to any single person.
It wasn't the big thing about the making with prohibition of marijuana, the tobacco lobby to begin with.
Yeah, a lot of that had to do with them, and also, that's a big thing with. We have huge companies, especially in the South. I think there are like a lot of them in Charlotte or Richmond, like Philip Morris and all these companies. Yeah. We grow and used to grow, especially a shit ton of tobacco. Like, there's all these like landed interests that like makes it, and also smoking cigarettes is it's funny to put it this way because we know it's all messed up. I mean, you watch Mad Men even, and they like the evolution of cigarettes and like the stigma about them, like when they do the cancer ads and stuff like that, and the evolution, if you just read about the cigarette lobby and like how they just had to slowly succumb to the science and accept that like cigarettes were killing people. But maybe much the same way with cocaine or heroin or meth, they're not necessarily going to kill you, and that could always be the argument. People that smoked a pack a day for 10 years and got lung cancer. People that smoke 50, or a pack a day for 50 years, they're fine. And it's like, and I think it's one of those arguments where it's like, well,
I think methamphetamines are a lot more destructive.
Sure.
Like, they literally start burning everything. They burn, what are they, connections in your brain, the synapses in your brain. They just start burning those out. And literally there are like, have you ever seen what that drug does to a human being?
Yes,
like
I have.
Like the study, the actual science behind it. I'm probably going to slaughter it right now, but literally it burns your ability, like it burns the connections in your brain that allow you to feel happiness. Like, it's crazy. It just starts eating away at the inside of your brain and your teeth, for that matter. And every time it actually, I think now that I'm remembering this a little better, it affects your brain's ability to release dopamine, which is the happiness drug, basically. And so and please tweet at me if I'm wrong about this and correct me, but
they are.
But they did. Someone tweeted at me that Kevin Smith's never used the Kickstarter before, and I was like, oops, how did I not know that? And that's awesome. Thank you for that.
He did.
He did not. He talked about it and then decided not to do it. And so you end up having to do more and more meth to chase that high, so to speak, and it just eats away at you from the inside out. And I've seen it. I used to date a girl whose sister started doing it, and she started off as a very, very lovely person, and then by the end of it, they had to lock her out of the house because she was constantly coming in to try to steal stuff to go get that next fix. That is not a world I want to live in. So if that ever happens, that actually might be one thing that energizes me politically to go out there and be like, hard drugs are a no. It's just not going to be. That's no fly zone.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree. Like, I'm caught in between a rock and a hard place where it's like I just feel like personal liberty trumps a lot of the other things, or pretty much everything else. But
at the same time,
you're going to inherently infringe on other people's rights when you're doing these kinds of drugs. You're driving a car.
Yeah, because you're not allowed. You're never going to be allowed to build bombs, right? And just randomly ignite bombs because it could kill and hurt other people. Right. So that's always going to be something that's illegal, or should be illegal. I think the same goes to these hard drugs. People make really poor choices when they're doing hard drugs.
But prisons are also full of non-violent drug offenders, and that's like another issue I really have too, where we have like a crazy prison state in this country predicated largely on the drug trade, predicated and fueled largely by the war on drugs. I do feel like the prohibition of drugs and the mystique around drugs makes them more interesting for people to do. I do think that if you, for instance, legalize cocaine, which I don't think is necessarily a good idea, but if you legalize it, there would be a huge spike in it, and then people wouldn't do it. Like, it would go back down to like normal, especially if the state was selling it and they taxed the shit out of it and made it really expensive.
But I mean, literally, if we were all at a party together and someone was like, "Hey, I have cocaine," and it's totally legal, would that not make you want like a little bit more likely to do it?
No, I would never do it. I don't. I
like if someone's like, "This is low grade cocaine," because there's no
low grade cocaine. There's no cocaine light from Marlboro.
Well, that's what I'm saying. And they would do that, right? They would come in and they would say, "No." There would be varying degrees on like what was stepped on and like how much it affected you, and you get just a little bump, and you're feeling a little drunk right now. It takes you right out of it. And like, you're gonna tell me there's not people we know that would be like, "Yeah, I'll do it," because it's totally legal and totally 10 years from now acceptable in society to be able to do that, right? Like, in the 20s, it was unacceptable
saying
to drink.
It's legal definitely makes me feel like, oh, this is an okay thing to do.
It's an okay thing to do. Like, it's okay for us to have one too many drinks at night, largely because we live in San Francisco and we were able to get home without having to drive. But it's still okay for us now, if you think about it, to have that second or third drink that puts you completely bonkers, and either you're going to wind up passed out someplace or you're going to that hot dog place in the marina, which is amazing and only open from 11 o'clock at night till 3 o'clock in the morning.
I think a similar thing here is if they lowered the drinking age to like
18.
or they just didn't have a drinking age. It's just legal.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I wonder if there would be as many, underage drinking problems.
Well, they've proven that. I mean, a lot of people talk about that in Europe because the drinking age is like nothing. I mean, you can drink, and teenagers grow up experimenting with it and getting guidance from their parents on it because it's something that they're offered by their parents. Like, hey, don't do that. Just have one drink or whatever. And there have been a lot of studies that come out, although I have never read any of them. I've just had people tell me that there's been a lot of studies come out that say people in Europe and in European nations don't treat alcohol with the same level of taboo nature that we do because they don't get to 21 and just rage because they've been drinking since they were 14.
Exactly. I feel like a lot of kids in college are just going to go crazy because they can. And even like when they can't is even worse. Like the high school kids are just like, we can't do this, so we're going to,
Yeah.
But if they could.
See, I lucked out. Like I've always said, I had a brother that was a bit older, so he helped guide me through a lot of those experimentations when I was younger with cigarettes and cigarettes. I'm thinking for that, but with alcohol, especially, he was like, "This is how you do it, and have fun drinking, but like don't go anywhere and like never get in a car and never do any of these things." And of course, we've all at some point made a poor decision that thankfully, didn't backlash, but. I just don't. I mean, I don't think it would be the same way with cocaine, and also I think it's because it hits you way harder than one shot or one alcoholic beverage. Granted, I've never done it before, so I don't know, but I've seen people do it, and it turns them into like Coke monsters for all intents and purposes.
Yeah, I still feel like there's a level of personal responsibility too. Like, I've never done these hard drugs, and I never want to, not because they're illegal, because you can obviously do them, but because they're stupid. But
they're expensive and they're super addictive.
Right, exactly. And it's like, of course, we've all known people that have done these kinds of things, and it's just like, I always question it in the sense of like, why are you doing this to yourself? But at the same time, I think about the people in prison, hundreds of thousands of people, minor drug offenders, nonviolent drug offenders, people that had some coke on them. Maybe they had the intent to sell, maybe they didn't. It's like, let them go. Like what are you doing? Like why are these people in prison? Like that's the kind of stuff that bothers me. Like we should be arresting and we're focusing our ire and our justice system at fucking violent people that infringe on other people's rights. So if you did coke or you have a little coke on you and you go to prison for a little while, that's fucked up. If you go to prison because you stole from your neighbor to buy your heroin, that's a different story, Right. And so that's why I understand the kind of moral conundrum, like I've been saying. Like, there is a real conundrum with drug legalization. It can't be as simple as the libertarian slant of saying like everything should be legal, but there is something to that where it's saying like maybe it should just be decriminalized, Maybe the cultivation, the creation of meth or coke or these unnatural things, which they're all unnatural. They're all created, especially meth is like horribly unnatural, but coke is unnatural and, heroin's unnatural. These are derivatives of opium and things of this nature. Like, maybe that should be the crime, is to say like, you can't sell, you can't grow it. But like, if you did it or you have a little on you or something like that, like, were you really going to like ruin your life? You know what I mean? Like, that's the kind of thing I think about. Like, I just think about our crazy like prison system that would be replicated in terms of how there's like, what is it, like one person for every 100 people in the United States are in prison or something like that? That's insane. Like 1 out of 100 people in the United States are not criminals. But
they make poor choices. I mean, that's
sure,
the
but they're poor, and then they're thrown in prison.
But time out. You just talked about the fact that we've all made poor choices here or there, right?
Sure. And I should have been like, and in reality, if I'd have gotten caught, I would have suffered the consequences, right? And that's my biggest problem, is that I'm not as trusting in human beings as I think we all would like to be, in that I don't believe that I think we abuse substances. I think we do. I think we're fragile and weak, and I think we get addicted to things very, very quickly. And once you're addicted to something, by the way, it's not like you can just flip that off, right? You're addicted forever. Once your brain gets a hold of something, think about that. And it's not just one addiction. You can be addicted to multiple things. That's why people's lives get ruined. So I think there needs to be steep penalties, and I think, I just think that the FDA needs to step in, especially, and really, really, really take a hard look at these substances and how they're affecting. You don't really know. If cocaine were to become legal, I think it would be a good 10 years of really bad stuff.
Possibly, but I think the middle ground is not legalizing these drugs. I think marijuana should be legal. It absolutely will be.
It already is. If it's already legal in a few states, it's already legal.
But I just think that like the act of, on a personal level, decriminalizing all these other drugs will go a long way towards helping rehabilitate people. Like, you throw them in prison, they stay in prison, we pay for them to be in prison. Then they get out, they have no jobs, they have a stigma on them for the rest of their lives, they have a record, they can't get a job. They fall into the use of drugs and alcohol and these kinds of things. Cyclical. That's why, my girlfriend always says, my girlfriend works with, these kinds of kind of like populations, like criminal populations, whatever, and it really is a cycle. People that go to prison go back to prison.
Yeah.
You know, if you go to prison, it's very rare or rarer to go to prison once and then never go back to prison again. And like you should go to prison for assault or rape or murder or all these kinds of things, white collar crimes, all these kinds of things. Like absolutely, but I'm just asking the question, like, do we need hundreds of thousands of people in prison that sold coke? Like that's all I'm asking. Like maybe we would save money, maybe we'd be smarter and wiser and better for our population, better for our people, better for their kids, better for them if we just not slap them on the wrist but said like don't do it again. You know, like give them probation.
Yeah, but then they
and
gotta
like
do it again.
but then like warn them and be like, you know, we want to help you. Like we don't want you to do this. You know, like it's just the
problem is there's a
easier said
ton
than
of
done.
money. There's a ton of money to be made in that.
Sure,
kind
but
of
you know why there's a
illegal
ton of money to be
substances.
made in drugs? It's because they're illegal.
Right.
So, like,
the
that's-
hard
that's
sell,
your-
but
that's
the hard
your-
sell, like the upside to marijuana is it does have some actual medicinal purposes, right?
Yes,
This
it
is
does.
something that can actually help with things like glaucoma, anxiety, migraine headaches, things like that. These are scientifically or quote unquote scientifically proven things. So I feel like that was really the gateway into sort of being like, look, this isn't necessarily something as destructive as a drug, or it shouldn't be thought of as a quote unquote drug. When I think of drugs, I think more of the harder substances. There are no good uses for heroin or for coke or for methamphetamines other than
No, think about the 19th century opium dens and all that kind of
Right.
stuff. Like some people are strung that like wasn't Arthur Conan Doyle? Isn't that
Yeah.
the guy? He was like wasn't he in like
well,
really into opium?
I don't know if he was into it or not, but his
And
his
Holmes
main
was,
character
yeah,
was
and
into
Holmes-
it. So I assume he had. I mean, my assumption is if you write that eloquently about chasing the dragon, you've done it once or twice probably.
So all right. So let's go around
that
the
he
table
painted
before
that
we
like a
wrap this up.
picture.
So Tim, where do you stand?
In the beginning, I would have just said, fuck it, legalize everything, because do what the hell you want to yourself. But you guys raised really good points. I think you should legalize a lot of the softer drugs. Like I like defining them. Defining what is a hard drug and just coming up with rules, basically.
Yeah, is there
That's-
any nation in the world where cocaine is legal?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Nation of
either.
Cocaña.
That's not
Maybe
where it
though.
was.
Maybe.
You're thinking where they get the cocoa pebbles from.
Oh, okay.
But I don't understand why alcohol and cigarettes are legal and weed's not.
We tried to make them illegal. Didn't work.
But that's the thing. Like, once something's legal, you can't go back on that.
Yeah.
Like, I think that from the beginning it should have all been illegal, or there should be a clear line of things under this or.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, and this is gonna be a stretch, so walk with me on this one. But it's very much the same as the internet right now, which is there's not a lot of laws that govern the internet because the technology, and in this instance, it would be like that. You know, people have been smoking and drinking for a lot longer than anyone even cared to have laws about such things, right? So when you hit the United States, you hit other developing countries. My guess, and Colin, correct me if I'm wrong, is that the laws really couldn't keep up with the power that the substances had over people and the money that was to be made. So thankfully, I think most of those laws were probably in place by the time some of these pharmaceutical grade drugs started happening, like cocaine and hitting the streets. Which I think cocaine didn't really show up until the late 70s, right? Oh no, I guess they'd used it.
I mean,
they had used it
old.
in wars for a long time.
Yeah, it's like
right?
19th century.
So like they used to
but
use
not
it.
as a post-war as a drug, and really, yeah.
But they
the
used to use it like they
70s.
used that caffeine pills to keep people awake and like keep people marching and,
Exactly.
and going forward. Yeah,
Exactly.
which is crazy to think, right? Could you imagine if you were in the military and you were like,
Take
I'm
a
really
bump.
tired, but I have to go chart and like take that hill, and someone's like, take the ring out, go for it.
Take
The cocaine
ring out?
ring.
Oh.
I don't know
okay.
why my brain went there. I just saw a 70s movie where someone had a cool coke
I'm
ring.
happy that you said the streets. Like,
The
it took
streets.
us, I don't know how long to get to someone saying the streets.
When did I say the streets?
You said it a bit ago. It made
that's
me
true.
happy, though.
I was thinking the Coke nail.
Yeah, they always have the coke nail, but then have you never seen a coke ring?
No.
Where you tip up a little thing and there's this little bump in there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I had some friends that thought that was cool to have those in high school, and I'm like, you don't do cocaine, but they were theater kids. Theater. I come down on Wi-Fi. Why even bother not saying legalize marijuana? Because it's gonna happen. It's already happening, right? And if it gets to 3 or 4 more states, big tobacco's gonna step in eventually and start marketing marijuana if they haven't already. If they haven't started marketing it already.
Oh, I'm sure they're working on it.
They're definitely working on it. You're going to be able to walk into a Shell station or a Chevron station and for $6 to $10 buy a pack of weed. That's what's going to happen. That's
It's
what's
gonna
going
be
to
way
happen.
more than that, but yeah.
You think it's going to be way more?
Oh yeah.
I don't know.
A pack of marijuana cigarettes in the same style as the pack of cigarettes you have now would probably cost like $80.
You think so?
Yeah,
I
especially
have no idea
with
what
especially with
stuff
taxes.
costs. Well, or they'll sell something that's a little packet of it or whatever. You can
Yeah,
smoke
yeah,
it or sell it with. They'll probably package it with zigzags, like a 2-for-1 deal. You'll be able to do that soon. Probably, definitely in our lifetimes. Probably in the next 10 years?
Yes, we vote in California this fall.
Do we really?
Yeah.
I feel like
It already failed once though here.
it'll pass now. That
I don't know.
Passed in
A bad
Colorado.
idea for them to put it in midterm elections. That's exactly what happened. Like we voted 2010, and it failed because those were always counterculture years, which are Republican years right now because the Democrats are in power. So you're putting it in conservative years. They should have waited and put it in 2012, and they should wait again and put it in 2016. I bet you it fails again.
Greg.
I say legalize marijuana.
Mm-hmm.
And then right now, I'm fine with everything else being illegal, but Colin raises good points about decriminalization. I would need to look more into that. But I'm not prepared to throw that switch yet.
Yeah, my whole thing is like you got to just pay attention to the cause and effect about legalizing and making things illegal. Why does organized crime exist in the United States? Because of prohibition.
Yeah.
So that is the only.
I thought you were going to say the Italians.
No,
I'm
Italian, so like I said, you're
You're a
Italian, so I don't
blood
really care. Prohibition or organized crime is a direct product of prohibition, 1-to-1. No one would ever deny that. And when you make things hard to get, criminal enterprises will fill the void. There's no such thing as there being no market for anything. There's a market for everything, whether or not it's legal or illegal. It doesn't matter because there is a thriving drug market in the United States. There always has been, and the harder you clamp it down, the more thriving it becomes, and the more money those people make. So the balance that they have to make in Washington and Colorado right now with marijuana, for instance, is not making it too expensive. Because they make it too expensive, the black market won't go away. And in fact, the black market will become cheaper and undercut the government. So they actually can't tax it too much. They have to actually make it kind of appropriatly priced. Right. This is a huge challenge.
But then, no, don't you think they're going to reach out to those people and whoever's got some sort of dealer or some sort of what do you call? I guess pot grove.
What? Like a place
people that are growing it, right? A pot
grove.
Grow,
whatever.
A gully. Like
don't you think they're just going to reach out to those people and offer them jobs? I mean, wouldn't that be the best thing to do?
Maybe. I mean, people are signing up in these states to like become official growers and stuff.
Yeah.
But there's always going to be an undermarket. They don't want to pay taxes. So like, there's always going to be people that be like, I don't care. In fact, it makes it easier for them to say like I don't care because it's no longer technically illegal.
Yeah, but I mean
they're dodging their taxes, which is the illegal part.
If Philip Morris gets into the game, it's endgame. Like you can't compete with that company.
Sure,
you can't. Like there are very. I mean,
but we'll
that's
see
the
if they
same
can
reason why there are no black market cigarette dealers.
Yeah, we'll see. But there is a black market cigarette market for sure. You know, and
yeah, I mean those are stolen though. I mean those are
they're unstamped
they steal off of trucks before they go through customs or something.
Like Goodfellas.
Well, they're
exactly like Goodfellas.
Yeah, they're unstamped and they didn't pay taxes on them, and they sell them at bodegas and they get them off of Indian reservations where they don't pay taxes and stuff. I mean, so all I'm saying is like we have to it's such a complicated problem. So my stance would be yes, legalize marijuana, probably legalize all of the quote unquote soft drugs, as Tim put it, which is a good way of putting it, and then really commission a study by the FDA to say like what does it look like to legalize these other drugs? What does it look like to decriminalize them? And what does our prison system look like if we handle drug-related crimes in a more rational way that are not violent? Violent crimes, whether or not they're related with drugs, should be dealt with very harshly. And what does that look like for our society if we like open it up and make it a little more free? Now, I think that where that ends up is saying like, decriminalize the use of all drugs, keep the cultivation and sale of hard drugs illegal, so it's not illegal on a personal level. You know, it's really illegal to sell. It's not illegal to buy, and you can even make those crimes harsh if you want, but I still feel like the war on drugs has been a major failure, and it's propagated and instigated and fueled the fires of drug use in this country, and certainly drug profits, which are cyclical. If there's a lot of profit, people will do illegal things no matter how dangerous they are to get that money. So there's like all of these different things you have to keep in mind. It's a very complicated issue, but I think that we have to kind of start being honest with ourselves at least about some of these substances, and be a little more consistent about them. And remember that prohibition of any kind on popular substances usually backfires. So in unexpected ways. Like I said, like prohibition was good, like the people's hearts were in the right place, but they spawned massive criminal enterprises in a few years. Yeah. Before you knew it, people were being murdered all over the place. It was no one expected that. Like, so you just have to be honest that like sometimes, so the law or the unintended consequences now, we have hundreds of thousands of people in prison that don't belong there. Yeah. And that's really sad for the families. It's sad for us that are paying for them to be there. Prison's fucking expensive, man. So just food for thought for all of our loyal listeners out there.
Who'll be voting in their upcoming elections?
I hope so.
My turn.
Go for it.
I want to know what sitcom character you hated And now I want to make it very clear. We've talked about hate trolls and everything else on this show before, and I always tell that story about The Office when I almost tweeted how much The Office sucked it or whatever in that second to last season. Got good in the final season. I don't mean actor or actress. I mean character in a show you hated. And I will always go back to Jill from Home Improvement, who was a terrible wife and a terrible mother.
Jill from why was Jill from Home Improvement a terrible wife?
She was annoying all the time.
Because she lived with the dude that went like this. That's all he did.
Guess what, motherfucker? You married him and
But
kept
maybe-
having sex with him.
Maybe Tim the Toolman Taylor maybe he was just a mechanic when she first met him, and he was a nice guy, and then all of a sudden he gets this show.
and now guess
he's
what?
Like the world's most annoying human
You
being.
live in Detroit. He's on
I would
TV.
argue that Tim is more annoying than Jill.
No, he's
No.
a
He's an
millionaire
idiot. He can't
in
fix
Detroit
anything.
bucks. He gets free shit all the time. Remember,
Free stuff that she doesn't
he
want.
He redid
What do I
the
need
bathroom.
a carburetor
He's got,
for?
He's,
Look, I got you this free carburetor.
Redid the bathroom. They had all.
Yeah, but he always screws it up. She
but they
would go
fix it in
he
the
would
end.
flick a freaking light, and like a turkey would shoot out of the oven. And be
Yeah,
like,
and then the next episode he fixed. And he had a hit
because
show.
Wilson, because what's his name? The dude with the beard.
Wilson didn't do shit. Al did everything.
Al had to come over and fix it.
Yeah.
I think Jill and Al were banging.
No,
That's
Al
my
had
thing.
that girl.
I'm putting that out there.
No, that's not true. That's not what it was. Jill was
putting that-
annoying.
Al
She
was
wasn't
coming over to
supportive.
fix stuff at the end of the day.
And she always had that voice. And like this is the weird thing about Patricia Richardson
Tim?
doesn't sound like that, but she was always like Tim. Shut up. No,
Do you think when they had sex and he finished, he was like, oh.
I hope
Yes,
so.
definitely.
Yeah,
I would.
yeah.
I would. This is how it would sound if I were him having sex.
And then he just rolls over.
That's it. You roll over, you get
Yeah.
a sandwich.
Two pumps
Al
and
comes
done.
over, makes you a sandwich, and then
Yeah.
you go to bed.
He puts
He
Dylan in
fixes
his
something.
sandwiches.
I bet he puts Dylan in
Yeah,
sandwiches.
that's a real
what-
thing from the
that's
show.
what-
I watched a lot of Home Improvement.
That's what Jill used to be called. A
They
little
also
sandwich.
couldn't catch fish in that episode because they used hand cream that had a scent to it, and the fish could smell it on
Jill was
the bait.
stupid. How did
I
we
love
ever
that
get
show.
duped by that show?
I like that show.
Why did you watch so much of it?
Clements
Because it was on after Simpsons on reruns syndication, man.
Oh yeah.
When we worked in Brisbane, Clements and I would go to.
By the way,
get
his name
lunch.
is pronounced Clements. Everyone, I got a couple tweets that are like, "Why do you guys say the last part of his name? Why do you put the emphasis in the last part of his name? Because it's Clements.
Yeah, Clements.
It's not Clements.
We used to go to get like McDonald's or some other lunch when we worked in the Brisbane office, and then watch Home Improvement every day. And that show actually makes me laugh. Like that show is
It's
actually
a
really
funny show.
It is. Like it authentically is a funny show. Like I really. It's not like Golden Girls or Seinfeld funny. Like where it's like really
All right,
fucking
stop
funny.
right there. Are you serious about Golden Girls?
Yes.
Dude,
'Cause
Golden
I-
Girls is probably
This
one of the
table
best
doesn't
written.
joke around.
It's like probably one
I
of the
was
best
in love
written.
with you before this happened, but you do know that Golden Girls was like my youth.
Oh, no, I watch Golden Girls every night.
I used to watch Golden Girls with my mom, and now my wife watches Golden Girls, and I will sit and I will watch it
Dude,
without.
it's so
well written.
First of all, a lot of great TV writers got their start on Golden Girls, which I didn't know. I was reading about it not too long ago. Yeah, and that show is fucking funny.
It's really funny.
Like it's really, really well written. I think that's like top 5 sitcoms of all time.
It's one of those shows that you just sit. Like my wife, literally, she likes that show so much that she plans on me dying first. Naturally, it's gonna happen.
The Taco Bell's gonna do you.
Oh god, the Taco Bell, the incessant late night podcasting. But when I die, and in Italian families, the guy always goes first. So the wife always lives like 20 years later because we married like the Dutch girls and they're like super healthy. That was totally, I just meant that a lot. She wants to live like Golden Girls. She wants to move in with her sister and like some of her friends and live in a big house and like someplace warm
Living the
and
dream.
eat cheesecake at night in the kitchen and just talk to each other and like always wear robes and like flowing things. She wants to
What
do
a
that.
great show that was. What a great.
It's
show.
so good,
dude. It's
right?
so like my favorite part of this, and I identified this in college. I used to watch it with my friend Abby, and we would sit there, and I'm like, the best part of the show, the comedy's well written, and the characters are awesome. And you should read some of the, by the way, some of the stuff like the characters were transfixed. Like like Rue McClellan or whatever her name was actually supposed to be the idiot. Betty White was actually supposed to be the sexy one.
Really?
And like when they were reading, and like there's all these things, like it's so funny. Like you read about it, but.
I can't even imagine that.
Betty White is the sexy one.
Yeah.
Is the best.
Dude,
Betty White used to be hot.
Betty
dude.
White used to be hot.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes.
Like even
And
Mary
she
Tyler
was-
Moore
I
or
think
something
she's
like
hot
that.
now.
And
She
like,
was always super funny too, so
Yeah.
she had that added dimension of like genius. She's a genius.
But my favorite, the funniest thing, and people should pay attention to this if they watch Golden Girls. It's on Hallmark Channel like every night. You should watch it.
It's on right now. I
Oh
guarantee.
yeah,
Somewhere in the world it's on.
No, it's
Dorothy's
on Hallmark.
deadpan is the
Oh, yeah.
best, and she does it all the time, and they know because they always zoom in on her. Like when someone makes a joke about her or someone says something funny, she's always like looking all serious at them, like she fucking hates them. And that is the comedic genius of Golden Girls. So
You know, people didn't like her, right?
What do you mean, like
There's
it?
a lot of stories from
On
set
the
that
show?
they were just like,
B. Arthur?
Like directors would work with her, and she would just constantly give them shit.
Well, she had a huge show, Maude, and she was like a huge star on that show. And I think Rue McClanahan was on that. That's her name, right? Like the redhead. I think she was on that show with her. And I think that like she had like a big sitcom that she carried for a long time. I think it was in the late 70s, early 80s. And then they went on to Golden Girls and all that kind of stuff. So she probably thought she was kind of like hot shit, but. That show is really special. Now, the answer to the question, Greg.
Yeah, who you hate? What character you hate?
What character I hate, and and I got to be honest with it, it's Urkel. Like,
Urkel.
Urkel was the worst part of Family Matters.
Yeah, he was
worst part.
Like, I loved,
I'm serious about that.
I didn't like his sister.
I like the mom and
Urkel's
dad
girlfriend.
and all. I like their whole kind of dynamic. But Urkel was like really important to the show and like fundamental to the stories and stuff. He was, but he just kind of sucked. Like Urkel kind of sucked.
Urkel had the same problem that when he started and he was a side character in the show, he was fine and he was funny. But then once he hit and the show reversed to be all about him, he got really annoying. Did I do that? Every episode, like, all right. It was almost as bad as Harriet with Carl. Carl.
Do you know this? Real quick.
That's Harriet saying Carl. Every episode she'd get mad at Carl and yell at him like that.
Do you know the story about Harriet?
Jeez.
All right, so obviously
Winslow.
we know.
Winslow, the show. right?
Well, so obviously she was in a Perfect Stranger. She was the elevator operator. So the Family Matters is a spinoff. But do you know, like,
Oh my God, that's right.
So when Family Matters
totally
and
forgot
Step by
about
Step
that.
were on TGIF, ABC didn't want them anymore. They were going to cancel both these shows. Do you know this? This story?
No, I didn't know that.
So they sold them to CBS. This was in like 1997, 1998. Now the woman who played Harriet, I guess, is kind of an OG actress, and she wanted to start directing shows, episodes of shows, and they wouldn't let her, so she just quit. So if you watch so she wouldn't be on the show anymore. So if you watch the CBS season, the last season of Family Matters, it is just a different mother.
Really?
And they never acknowledge
that. I hate when they do that.
Never acknowledge it. It's so funny. By the way, the other question is we were talking about Step by Step a while ago.
Yeah. Patrick Duffy's great.
And how that show went on for a really long time, and the daughters all got older and it got really hot.
Yeah.
I was watching on the way down to VidCon. It was on the TV or whatever, and they're just so those daughters are just so hot. Like in like the later seasons. They're just
Suzanne Summers was the mother in that.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
God, she was good looking back then.
But like
too.
when they all are
looking
like
now, man.
when they're all in like their 20s.
Greg, she's 94 years old now.
She's not.
Game on.
Oh yeah, they used to, did you ever think about that? Like when you were a kid at the same age, you're like, which one of these girls is going to grow up? Like when you were a kid, not now, but like when you were like 13, 14, were you like, did you have the crush knowing that girl was going to grow up, and you like had this hope that she would be amazing and you'd meet her one day in Hollywood and you guys would get married?
No,
I wouldn't go that far with it.
I was always more like, man, these people are doing way more with their lives at 13 than I am.
Really?
They're making way more money than
You
I
did not think
am.
Is it inappropriate to look at someone and be like, they're going to be really hot?
No, I don't think so.
Because that happened recently. I don't remember
With who?
I was talking about. I was talking to one of you guys.
What do you mean by inappropriate, I guess?
No,
I don't know.
who
I don't
the-
know. This probably should just end here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. it'll save me the bleeping later down the road.
Yeah.
The thing about the blonde on Step by Step.
who was
blonde
Dana?
daughter.
Was it Dana on Step by Step?
Thank you.
I gotta look this up.
Your girlfriend reminds me a lot of her in terms of looks. From what I remember Dana looking like in my head. And Dana, of course, being the also the girl from My Two Dads.
Right.
Yeah.
That is the girl from My Two
Yeah,
Dads.
yeah. So
Very
you,
good.
I think that subconsciously is why you're in love with Cheryl.
It could be.
Step by step.
Dana.
Remember how long that? All right. So do you remember this random Step by Step aside? In the first season, they had like this shitty neighbor that they like just wrote out, and then in the later seasons they brought in Balky from Perfect Strangers.
Yeah.
Like they just like, and then they had a daughter, like the Brady Bunch style. They were Brady Bunch style kids, and then they or family, and then they had like a daughter who then like was suddenly 7 years old.
Yeah.
And
Well,
so-
that's a normal thing for happening.
Yeah, they did the same thing in
Boy Meets World.
and Growing Pains too.
Yeah.
With our friend Ashley Johnson.
That's right.
awesome.
Also, though, now that we're talking about this, another person I hate, character I hate, Mrs. Poole.
Oh, Mrs. Poole from
Hogan's Family, and then she was also she played the same character in Hogan's Family and Small Wonder. Not the same character name,
right, but
obviously.
the neighbor.
Annoying neighbor.
Small Wonder.
Was she in Ferris Bueller's Day Off?
She was. And she was the secretary.
She was
there.
awesome in
And she
that
was,
movie.
She's an awesome actress. That's what
Yeah.
I'm getting back to on
Yeah.
this. She seems like a nice person, but in these, when she's the annoying neighbor, she plays it so well
she
that
does that
she
character
grated
very
on
well.
me nonstop. And I
Yep.
was like, I want her to die.
It's like
She's
Professor
in Ferris
Umbridge
Bueller.
from Harry
yeah, that's what you
Potter.
said. She's the secretary.
okay.
She was the secretary. Remember,
Right,
she's like, he's a righteous dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was Edie McClure, I think her name is.
Oh,
Yeah, that's
good
her
man.
name.
Nailed it.
And yeah, she I don't know like any actresses or actors' names. I know her. I know
you know
Edie
Mrs.
McClure.
Poole.
Yeah, Mrs. Poole. Well, dude, I feel like the Hogan Family is just such a special show. Like that really isn't on when that was on. They put that on. They put that on Fox Family or whatever when I was in college, or the Family Channel, whatever the hell it was called at that point. And I was so stoked. It was only on for like a few months, like one episode at like 3:30 in the afternoon, and I go home and watch it every day. And like DVR, I'm like, this is awesome.
Yeah, I remember watching
Fucking
all these
Hogan
shows in syndication at my grandmother's, or then after dinner on Fox, and ran all this crap.
Man, I never watched the Hogan Family. I have no idea what the show is.
It's so funny because like
Oh, it was
90% of
Bateman
the
was
shows
on.
you guys
This
talk
is-
about
yeah.
to me are just Nick at Night shows.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, after all my Rugrats and cartoons and stuff, it's like then I get to watch
Did you ever
Then this
watch
crap
Facts
these?
of Life and all this stuff.
Did you ever watch Facts of Life?
You take
The fact of life. Two other just OG shows, by the way, we really should throw out there for people, young people like Tim. Newhart. One of those shows
Never
you should
even
watch.
heard of that.
Newhart is awesome. Newhart's
It's because of him. It's
Yeah,
because
Bob
of
Newhart is a
Newhart.
comedian. He used to have a show
He's
called The
so
Bob
good.
Newhart Show. Then he did a show called Newhart, and it was just totally different. He was like, he had like a different family.
he
Bob
owned
Newhart.
an inn and
Yeah, he
stuff.
owned an inn in Vermont, and like it was just about the inn, and it was like so funny. And the last episode of Newhart is
Spoilers, everybody.
Yeah, spoilers for Newhart because it happened 30 something years ago now. The last episode is he wakes up at the
remember
end of the
this
episode and he's with his wife from the Bob Newhart show.
I love that.
And it was a
I love
dream.
things
And it
like
was
that
and it
so
was all-
much.
And Newhart was a dream.
Good.
The other show is Welcome Back, Kotter, which
Jeez.
is a genius show from the 70s.
Now we're getting way off track.
That was
and so
Travolta.
funny.
Wasn't
Yeah,
it?
Travolta.
Yeah.
And
Hey,
we can
Mr.
get
Guy.
back on that because Horshack's kind of sucks.
you
Horshack was really-
hated Horshack?
No, I don't hate him. He just kind of sucked.
Oh,
No
okay.
one liked Horshack.
Well, who do you hate then? What character did you not like from one of these shows?
I'm trying to think.
You're a man
Come
filled with
back
hate.
to me.
All
Go
right.
to Tim first, and let
Tim,
me think.
who do you hate from TV sitcoms?
So you mentioned Brady Bunch, and that instantly Jan. Fuck you, Jan. I don't like you.
Yeah, but the problem with Jan is, like, and that's the thing, I was going to say Screech, but the problem with hating Screech is that Screech was the character that's written in to make all the other characters look cooler. And so, like, you can't hate on Screech, and you can't hate on Jan, because Jan
They
was
just
the
did their job,
antithesis
though.
to Marsha.
They make you want to hate this character, so you do hate
So
this
you like the
character.
other characters better. I mean,
Yeah,
actually, Jan back in the day wasn't that bad.
Yes, she was.
In the movie, she was
In the
terrible.
movie,
They
she
made
was
her.
even
They made her
worse.
out really bad.
I love those movies
What,
so
when
much.
they get married?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just watching those not too long ago. And
They were like spoof movies.
Which is great.
Oh, you mean the movies from the 90s?
I'm talking
Yeah.
about movies from the 90s.
Oh, like they did the Brady Bunch, like the real movies in the 80s. Like,
Oh, I
with
didn't know that.
Where
That's
like they
crazy.
get like there's
I
one
love
movie
a
where
very Brady Christmas.
like when they get married, like Jan and Marsha get married. You never saw this? Jan
No,
and Marsha.
I never
They
saw
get
this.
the original cast back there. They're all adults. This isn't like the early 80s. And Jan and Marsha have a dual wedding. And Marsha's marrying like some straight edge dude, and Marsha's marrying some like crazy dude, and Jan's marrying like some straight edge dude. And I was watching it with Charlotte. I'm like, this shit sucks.
Yeah.
I'm like, can you change it? I'm like, no, I love this stuff. So like, it's so weird. It's so awkward. Like Mrs. Brady in the beginning calls all the kids to let them know they're getting married. Peter's in like the Air Force now.
Yeah.
And like Bobby's at school and college in the dorm room. He's like a baseball pitcher. I'm like, this
Wait,
fucking.
this wasn't from the 80s? Wasn't this like
This was like
late
1980.
90s?
No, this was like 1981.
I'm pretty sure this was after
Yeah,
the
I
movies
think it was
happened.
way.
No.
later.
This is no. This is
They
this
did
is,
another one that was way later.
Oh no,
Like
no,
an
they did.
actual-
They
I remember
did.
seeing
They
that.
did. They did multiple movies, but Brady Bunch was 65 to 72.
I'm looking it up.
So this is like 1980, 81, and
Okay.
they reunited every few years, and
Yeah.
they would get fewer and fewer of the original cast.
Very Brady Christmas is the last one though.
And
right?
that was
Alice just died recently.
we know.
yeah, which is
what was it
terrible.
about the Brady Bunch that we liked?
The theme
That we
song.
still like.
Davy
the qu-
Jones.
It's the
Davy fucking Jones.
it's the quintessential American family. I feel like it's a
Is
fusion.
it comforting to watch?
It is. It's the same reason why Leave It to Beaver is so good still, because it's wholesome, and we don't have that kind of stuff anymore. Like it really is just
Because we
it's
never
really
had it
just
to begin
innocent.
with, though. It was never reality. That's
Yeah, it
why
was
it's
fake.
like, why when we watch that, do we need as human beings like that level of perfection? I
don't
just
think-
don't get it. It's
a family
not,
that
it's not
sings
reality.
together and goes through puberty
And they
together.
and they roller skate together and do
Yeah.
everything together. And like the dad,
Different
there's a
colors.
problem, and it's not infidelity, or like maybe he's gay. It's none of that stuff. It's like, oh, trouble at work. Oh, it's okay.
He
You know,
lost
it's
the
like,
plans.
Oh, he did. He always lost the plans. Oh, we forgot. Peter forgot the plans. Come on.
But just real quick, you guys were mentioning the Brady Bunch movies, like the ones from the 90s. Those movies are awesome.
They are so good. I
Like
watched one
they like make
over
me
Christmas
laugh
break.
from my belly. Like,
How did they
especially
pitch those films as like, let's just make the Brady, like someone was like, Brady Bunch, modern times. That's it.
That's it. I mean, they just took the classic storylines and then just made them from 30-minute episodes into just every 3 minutes was a different Brady Bunch storyline.
And was it the guy
It's so
from
good.
Office Space?
Yeah, he was the dad, right? Isn't that the? Oh no,
Yes,
that's
he was the dad in the
Cole,
remakes.
Cole,
Where
right?
he's
Something
like,
Cole.
Peter. Let's talk, Peter.
Dude,
Lumberg.
Lumberg.
Hell,
Wait, I didn't
Lumberg
movies-
fucked her.
What was the name of the oldest son?
Peter.
No,
No,
Peter's the middle
Greg.
son.
Greg.
Greg. Yeah, where Greg and Marcia have to share a room.
Oh, yeah,
when she's
yeah,
like
yeah.
getting undressed.
That was great. That
I
was
love
really
that.
fun.
I love how the neighbors make fun of the one scene I remember so much is like when the youngest daughter goes to the neighbors to get the mail, and like they hate the Bradys, like they're trying to get them to sell, and like the wife's like an alcoholic, whatever, and they're just making fun of the way she talks, and like they can't understand what she's saying.
Yeah.
And like, she's like there to get the mail or something. Like, it's so and Mr. Brady going on and on with his tangents, like it's. I think I'm pretty sure they're all on Netflix.
Oh, they're so good. If you
And they're
haven't seen
really
them,
good.
They're
Like,
genius. Because it really is. They don't even try to make it like a joke or a satire at all. It's just take the Bradys as they were in 1965 or 68, whatever.
Throw them in the 90s.
Put them into 1995.
But no one else is like that.
no one else is like that.
Oh, it's so
and just
good.
let them exist. And it's so genius.
this is a carjacking. I'm not Jack. I'm Greg, and this is my sister Marcia.
Mr. Brady's getting in trouble at work because he keeps designing things that are just the house they live in.
Jesus.
Supermarket.
God, that was so good.
It's brilliant. I love how we're going on and on about.
Yeah, I know, right? This is the topic's gone in a
Yeah, so
strange corner.
I'd say Jan because you're supposed to hate her. Another character that you're supposed to hate is the nanny, Fran Drescher.
You weren't supposed to hate the nanny.
I
A lot
don't
of people
know.
did.
She was
Couldn't
vaguely
handle it,
hot,
man.
though, wasn't
Wait.
No,
But
she
Fran
is
Drescher was
vaguely
hot.
hot, but
The voice she did was not.
it's
hot.
just like, oh my god.
Who was the girl? Kimmy. On
Kimmy Gibbler?
Yeah,
On Full House.
Hated her on Full House. Hated
Yeah,
her.
she sucked. I love how brutal they were to her too. Like they would
Didn't
just
she become an
make fun-
alcoholic or something?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. All I know is that they would
on the
just make
show.
fun
No,
of-
wasn't there an episode where she
Oh.
was like, she was the kid that like messed around with drugs and alcohol, and they were like, not Kimmy Gibbler, right? And then like they
it
had
was
to
for
have
years of
the more
abuse.
you know episode.
It was from years of abuse from fucking
Did they make
Joey and
Uncle
Uncle
Jesse just laying into her.
shitting on her since she was like 6 years old.
Because she walks in, it's just two 34-year-old men making fun of you for all of your life.
She took it in stride though. She took it in stride.
She
At least-
was up.
She probably
She
went
was
home and
up.
cried a little bit, but
Well, she was
Who
super
didn't?
skinny, so my guess was, and the shoe.
anorexia or coke?
I was going Coke.
Yeah, Coke.
Yeah.
Good for her.
That's yeah. I don't know how she afforded it, but these rich kids and these.
What do
rich
you mean? How she
families.
afforded? She was on Full House. Oh, you mean in the storyline?
I was joking about her character, not her actual.
They also lived in like a
person.
beautiful part of San Francisco.
No, nobody.
They had, like, a mansion.
could afford.
The $40 billion mansion that you would have needed to like shell out that much money to live in San Francisco.
The kitchen is the size of my apartment.
I like how nobody ever thought about it too. You watch that show and like it doesn't even dawn on you.
Yeah.
And now that we live here, like, oh, we got fucking duped.
And that house is on Broderick Street.
The
You can
Painted
go see the
Ladies,
house.
yeah.
Well, no, the Painted Ladies are in the beginning, but their house, like the facade of the house when they're like zooming in.
Oh, really?
The show is on Broderick.
Where is it? We should go look at it.
Yeah, like
right now.
It's like I went. That was one of the first
Bring
things
the
I did. It's like
whiskey, the bourbon.
1687 or something. I don't know. But like they planted trees in front of it. You can't really even tell. But people go down there. There's like a whole website that like tracked down what house it was, whatever. But even if you think about the house, it's like a normal San Francisco house, and then you think about the layout of their
And the
house,
backyard.
it's impossible.
And the Uncle Jesse's house above the garage. No one has houses above the. No one has garages in San Francisco. We don't drive here. Yeah, Kimmy's probably. She was a close second for me, I would say.
My biggest hatred, though, I'm gonna go Alpha 5 from Power Rangers. He was Zordon's little assistant. Dude.
Oh no! UFO head?
Yeah, nah, dude.
You're supposed to hate him though.
How could you hate him?
He was a little punk.
Gordon was just a giant floating head.
Gordon.
Yeah.
Shout out to Gordon.
What was his name?
Zordon.
Gordon. Hi, I'm Gordon. Welcome to my pizza shop. Have some Gordon's pizza.
Another head just pops
It's
up
just
in the
spelled
thing.
It's just spelled Gordon.
Wasn't
You're
there a
I'm
storyline
Gordon.
eventually where he got out? He had a body. Didn't he get a body in
In
one
the
of
movies, he had a body. The movie, he had a body.
How'd that work out?
It didn't work out well. The movie's not really canon.
Oh, really? Yeah. That's no good.
What about the show Alf? Did
What
we
about
hate
Alf?
the dad on that? Do we?
No, the dad was awesome on Alf. He was essential. He was essential to the whole.
Alf.
Dude, he was so essential to that show.
Yeah, Alf was awesome.
I like
But the dad was essential to their interplay, like the whole show's interplay. I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, he was like one of the.
Wasn't
he
it
was
you,
the
I think, on a
character.
conversation or something? Maybe we talked too much about just TV. It told me like how Alf ended. I didn't believe you, and I had to YouTube it.
How did it end?
I think,
He
I think
gets,
it might- I think
gets
it might-
captured by the authorities at gunpoint. He just like they like come up on him with like spotlights, and he's like, and then it was like I think it might have said to be continued, and that shit was never continued.
That would be an awesome
Because
idea
Alf is
for a
fucking
show.
dead.
Just spoiling the end of all the '80s shows. So because I've started doing this, right? So I told you guys I was watching Star Trek Voyager. Well, I got tired of watching Star Trek Voyager, as one does, because the show is so overacted and so completely cheeseball. But it's still pretty good. I want to see how it ends. And so I got, of course, the brilliant idea. I'll just watch the season finale and the season premiere of every season. And, you know, you kind of get the gist no matter what. Like, some people partner up, someone's pregnant, you're like, oh, they're banging, it's not a big deal. But then I watched the end of it, I was like, this is super gratifying because I didn't have to spend 7 seasons. There's 162 episodes of that show. Do you have any idea how long
48
it is?
minutes each or whatever.
Oh my God, it's so long. I can't do the math, but it's unprecedented. But now I want to know how Star Trek The Next Generation ends because I can't remember.
How did Facts of Life end? Remember, they went from being in a school
See, we
together
should
to
start
then
this series.
Mrs.
We should
Garrett.
do a special
They
podcast.
killed
on how it
Mrs.
ended.
Garrett and hit her body.
Well, remember, Mrs. Garrett then had like a bake shop or a sweet shop, right?
Yeah.
That George Clooney worked at.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, how did Facts of Life end, though?
That is actually a genius idea.
We should do that.
Just doing
Bleep
quick
all this out.
video. Yeah, exactly.
By the way, it's like we don't know how to bleep. You could bleep and then make a cut, but we like to just bleep the full thing. So
Yeah.
like 20 minutes of just a beep. Yeah, I think, Tim, let's get on that. Let's come up with a name. Let's call it The True Facts of Life, how it should have ended. But how it really ended.
How it really
How it really ended. Fuck you, how it
Facts
should
of
have
Life.
ended.
Yeah.
But also how it really ended.
All right.
All right. Good topic, Greg.
Good. Thanks. I tried for you.
It was nice to lighten it up. We talked about
Yeah, we had some serious shit today.
hardcore drug abuse, and now we're good.
Tim,
Yes.
what's your topic?
So usually I like to talk about really stupid things.
Yep.
Today, it's a little
Nothing
little
special.
Less, it's not
No different.
Yeah,
Okay.
but it's a little less stupid.
Okay.
Physical media or digital media?
Oh, that's not stupid at all.
We're getting
Digital.
we're getting to this point where now everything is digital. You can get day one digital. You can get all this stuff.
Yeah.
But you can also buy stuff in stores. But more and more, you can't buy it in
You and I are
stores.
literally on the other side of the table from each other on this point.
Yes.
I know that. And it's just so weird because the generational gap should be the flip side, right? You love Blu-rays.
I love them.
You collect them. You go out and buy them. You actually watch the special features on the Blu-rays, the commentaries, all these things. You love it. I don't want it in my house. I don't want it cluttering up my shelf. I don't even have shelves. I want to be able to stream it wherever I am, whenever I am, with just one device, and that's why I'm totally
Like I said, whenever you are.
wherever
Whenever I am.
Yes, 24. No, but I used to think that way. Like, especially when you produced it, like digital media, you do have, and I still love film, and I still love all those analog formats. But I came to the conclusion a long time ago that it's one of those things that you just, similar to like Colin's Kickstarter conversation earlier. It's like the more you see where it's going to go, you just realize that it's going to be a part of our sort of collective mindset from here on out. And digital is the way. Like digital distribution, for instance, especially, never going to go away. Is going to be the main distribution path. Might as well just accept it and move on. You don't have to like it, but just accept it and move on, right?
Yeah. See, for me, it's interesting because I like the collecting of it, of the physical stuff, whether it's CDs or movies or games or whatever. But in addition to that, I actually do like archiving digital versions of all the things too. I just like knowing that I have the highest quality.
Right.
Like what we disagree on is the whole streaming thing.
Yeah.
I don't like streaming. I
Because
don't
of the
like this
quality.
at all because of the quality.
Because it's really bad quality.
Yeah,
Which is
but-
so funny too, because I had never really exposed myself to Blu-rays before until I came over to Alfredo's new place to see it. And he was like, "You want to watch Blu-ray?" And I'm like, "Sure." And
What's a Blu-ray?
he put on Predator, and I'd never seen Predator on Blu-ray, and I was like, and I've seen Predator hundreds of times at this point. In bite-sized
Yeah.
pieces. It's been on. I watch it a little bit here and there, and I watch it at least once a year, just as a matter of rule. It was amazing. I was like, "Whoa, this quality is insanely good." I am used to it looking way more degraded than this. It opened my mind up, yet still no Blu-ray player in my
Yeah.
house.
What's interesting for me is I buy the Blu-rays, but then I like to rip the Blu-rays myself. I like to buy the CDs, rip the CDs myself, just knowing that my digital copy is the best it can possibly be.
Right.
Like it is.
But doesn't that
the
take up so much
lossless-
hard drive space? Like,
Yeah, but hard drives are cheap as shit nowadays.
yeah, but how do you carry that around with you? And that's my biggest thing, right? Is like,
What?
I know. I just long for a day when like Netflix, when I can subscribe to like 3 or 4 different services, and I'm willing to pay the money for it because I'm at that point in my life.
Cheers to being loaded.
Right? Bazillion.
I can afford Netflix.
I can. Well,
$7.99
but,
a month.
when I was in college or high school, I used to steal stuff. Like I did. Well, actually, not high school because that was before the internet was.
He stole
sadly
stone
big.
tablets.
But
from-
in college, I used to download all my music illegally, and I download all my programs legally.
See, that's my thing. I steal everything, but then I buy everything.
Yeah, which is so
Sometimes
weird.
at the
It's
same
so
time.
Weird.
Like I'll buy a CD from Amazon and I'll download it illegally because I know it's on the way, but I still want it. But I want to
Why
be
not?
able to make my own copy
That's
of
so
it.
crazy to me. But I forget what my point was with that. I don't remember where I was going with that.
I'll pick it up. Digital only for Greg Miller. That's the thing. A long time, like I used to. Colin and I always talk about that. You know, when DVDs came out, we were on the same page, even though we didn't know each other. We need to have these DVDs. We love these DVDs.
I bought so many DVDs.
What was your first DVD? Do you remember?
Oh yeah, Ghostbusters.
Was it Ghostbusters?
Yeah, you never heard the story?
Mine was The Matrix, I think.
First DVD?
Yeah, ever bought.
I think Rugrats the movie.
Jesus fucking.
Mine was The Replacement Killer, starring Chow Yun-Fat and Mira Sorvino.
Wow.
Yeah, I remember
How
that
weird is that?
No, we all had that same run of DVDs. You had the Kevin Smith ones. You had Road Trip. You had Varsity
Oh, yeah.
Blues. There's all these goofy ass movies
The
that
Jerry
we love.
Seinfeld stand-up I had, too.
Yep,
on DVD.
there you go.
What is the
saying this for the
deal
last
with this thing?
And so
It's my Seinfeld.
I had all these things, and then I realized I never watched them. That I had these on my shelf, just taking up space. And then you move to San Francisco, where you have no space. And I immediately started getting. I sold a whole bunch of graphic novels when I moved here. I sold a bunch of DVDs, and even now there's some DVDs out there that I still have on the shelf that I don't ever plan on watching, but I can't bring myself yet to get rid of them, like Superman and Justice League and
rid
stuff
of
like
them.
that.
Get rid of them.
I know, but like the thing is, I don't bring anything new in. I haven't
you know
bought
what
a
you should do
DVD or a Blu-ray in
you should
forever.
give them to someone.
Roadhouse, last Blu-ray I bought. And I still
Roadhouse?
haven't watched it.
Starring
Just love
Patrick
it.
Swayze?
Yeah.
It's a great.
Love
film.
that movie. There's a Missouri
have
shirt
it.
in it. Terry Funk's in it. It's got everything you need.
Gotta
And
have
boobs.
it in high quality.
I do have a bad problem of buying them and not watching them.
Yeah, see, I literally used to have, and this was the point. My wife, when you get married, they start pointing things out like this, and you're like, "Damn it, how come I never noticed that before?" She was like, "Are you aware that you have not one, not two, but approximately 10 DVDs on your shelf that are still in the cellophane?" Mm-hmm. And I'm like, "Yeah, I keep them there until I'm going to watch them." And she's like, "You're never going to watch those." And even the ones that I do buy, I don't actually like going back and watching something I own again. I like catching it randomly out in nature. We talked about this before. I
Catching it
think.
randomly in nature.
But you know, or it's natural habitat, which is either like, oh, it's on
TBS.
Netflix now, check it out, or it's on Fox or FX and it's like sped up and cut out parts of it. But if something about owning something like as amazing as a film, I don't want to own it. I just want it to kind of come to me when the world wants it to come to me, so to speak.
That's so unique.
It's really weird.
It's very interesting. All right, so first of all, the Seinfeld stand-up that I'm going to tell you for the last time. Funniest quote in it, Greg, you might agree, you might disagree, is in the beginning. He's like, the Tide commercial, if you have blood on your laundry, or you have blood on your shirt, laundry might not be your biggest problem right now. I like that one a lot.
Yeah.
But
I forget, is it that one or is like comeback one, which is the one Christine and I always make fun of? He's driving down the road with a couch on top of his car, but he's got his arm over it. And he's got, don't worry, everybody, I've got it. I'm using my arm.
but I think Tim's the exception to the rule because he cares about the quality, right? To me, I feel like usually having shelves lined with DVDs or books or whatever is a vanity thing. And I think we have to like slowly get over that or whatever. I feel the same way. I have a fucking shit ton of books, like a metric shit ton of books, and like most of them are like
Is
are
that
not.
is that a scientific?
Most of them are
measurement?
not even here. Like I go to my mom's house and they're just like everywhere. I'm like, Jesus Christ, I have so many books. Why do I have so many books?
Right.
You know. And then a few years ago, I started using my Kindle, the Kindle app on my iPad, and I buy books all the time. I still read just as much, if not more.
See,
it's cheaper and it's more accessible. I wanted to read a book about World War I after playing Valiant Hearts, so I just went online. I looked up some more World War I books. I'm reading a book about the road to 1914, 700 pages. Paid like $8 for it. It's brand new. Downloads to my iPad instantaneously. I'm reading it. It's all backlit. I don't have the light on. It's like it's fucking perfect. It's
Yeah,
the same
it's awesome.
thing. I have like
the same
80s
experience. I actually love reading on my phone now because there's a Kindle app for your phone, which of course has been around forever. But since I discover things at a snail pace, just discovered, and I've been reading nonstop, books upon books upon books, comic books. Tim introduced me. He's like, dude, get on Comixology. Like, you can download all these amazing things that have sales. And now I'm constantly reading, which is so much better than what I used to be doing, which is just randomly surfing around shit on the internet and not really ever discovering anything really of validity.
It's perfect, right? Like we don't have all this clutter anymore. And then I'm having the same problem now that I had with my DVD collection. My DVD collection was great from 1999 to 2003. I had everything, right? And then I just stopped. And so I had like this DVD collection in stasis, caught in fucking time. That
Till
was like
when? To what year?
To like 2003.
Okay.
Because I went to college.
So
I
you
didn't give a fuck anymore.
you got like She's All That, and then you stopped.
I don't know if I had She's All That. I think probably the last one I bought was like Signs or something like that.
I own Signs.
And which,
Signs is a great movie.
Why would you buy that movie?
I
It's
love
terrible.
Signs
Signs.
is awesome.
I have Signs on Blu-ray.
Vominos children.
Bad.
I love Signs in The Village. Those are my favorite.
Village was actually really good, and someone spoiled the ending of that for me before I saw it, and I was like, "Oh my
that
god,
sucks.
son of a bitch!"
I never saw it. Some people were like, it's obvious.
because it would have been a cool movie.
But
Otherwise,
so I'm having the same problem now with my video game collection because I have like my GameCube, my PS2, my Xbox collection, and then I have like a fucking ridiculous amount of PS3 games, right? Like on my shelf. And then just a few PS4 games. I know slowly I got to get rid of these games because I'm not going to have that many physical PS4 games anymore. I have a bunch of digital PS4 games. In fact, I was thinking about it. I have like a majority of the PS4 games, which is like insane. There's not that many of them, but like I have.
But that's your job,
right? But I'm just saying it's so weird. Like you're keeping up that well.
But why
they
would
can't
you
last
just
forever.
take those and donate them to IGN or something like that?
Yeah, maybe I
Just
should.
take them,
Maybe I
just bring
should.
them to
I mean,
the office and have double
We've
copies
talked
of
about
them.
that before, bringing in our PS3 collection.
Just mark them as. I mean, this is what I would do. Mark them as yours. Like put a sticker on it that just says Greg or whatever. Just mark all of them and then give them to IGN, and that way you know that if you want to get them back, you can go.
Nice.
we'll never get it
the
back.
plan Colin and I have kicked around on Beyond before is that we bring in our entire PS3 collection and every episode give away one game to a listener.
That's awesome.
Well, we haven't done it.
We'll see.
We talk a big game about
God
it.
forbid when I was like, hey guys, can you bring in cool stuff to put in the podcast room and dress it? You were like, yeah, and you brought in like a picture of yourself drawn with cucumber,
with, like, potatoes.
which is
Potatoes,
amazing. Whoever
the
did that
potatoes,
is amazing.
man.
But yeah, bring
Do you
them
want me to
and
bring in my
scatter them around.
fucking video games and put them in the
We'll put
background?
them on the walls.
They look awesome right now. The room looks awesome.
I know,
Yeah.
we did a good job.
Make
Yeah, the
this
room
room
does
look
look
not like shit.
Put
How
them on the
about
walls
that?
here.
We could do that. So that's all I'm saying. I feel like it's
Gotta
more of a
hang that
vanity thing for me. Like
Oh, I wanna
eventually,
hang
I
that.
just want to have
Madness.
clean,
Madness.
futuristic look to everything. None of this clutter anymore. It's the same thing with my book. Like all the books, I have a huge bookshelf in my room of all the books I bought since I've been in here.
I know.
So it's like 2007 to 2011. And again, this is just caught in time.
Here's what I will
Yeah.
do for you. I will loan you my wife. You can pretend like you're marrying her.
Yeah.
You can pretend like you're
Where's
moving
this
out of this
going?
place, and she will do this. She will sit on your bed and just shake her head at the things that she thinks you should let go.
She would
all you have to
hate
do,
my room.
All you have to do is hold something up, and she'll go, and you put it in a bag, and then you take it to Goodwill. I took no.
I gave
lie.
my DVDs away.
When I moved in with my wife, I took like 4 bags of DVDs, 7 bags of books, and like all my clothes to the Goodwill. Actually, it was the Out of the Closet on California Street.
Yeah.
Just packed them in my car, took them over there, moved into with my house, and I was like, I have
Kills me.
nothing, and it is liberating. And you've seen my place. You've been over to my place.
Yeah.
Danielle really subscribes to the notion. She's like, if it's something that we don't keep in the house unless we absolutely need it or absolutely find it beautiful. Like that is her methodology.
And
If
you're
we
like, I find this copy of The Village beautiful.
but I don't need it, right? Because
I
then I
love
can go
this
online.
2 DVD set of Dogma.
Oh man, like the hardest one was I think I had the Criterion edition of like Armageddon, and it was like in a black
God.
box with like 2 DVDs, and I never even touched the second DVD. But
See, I have a problem
So
where I
good.
love how that shit looks on a shelf, and that might just be the young Tim in me. But
no,
like,
see, but I'm with you
it
too.
looks so good, and like
It does look good.
I'm the type of person that I don't just want to buy the Blu-ray. I want to make sure I'm buying the best version of the Blu-ray in the nicest looking box that looks best next to all my other
Well,
boxes.
in that regard, I
love steelbooks. Steelbooks are
Oh,
beautiful.
Yeah. Those are you have all this.
My Fast and Furious steelbook collection on my desk is awesome.
It's pretty amazing. But I mean, I'm with you though on the whole. Like I like the look of things, and I'm also super drawn to like covers, right? Because the movie cover is so like you instantly recognize it, and it's instantly like it's something you respond to. And I've always wanted a room in my house that's like the guy room that has like the original Drew Struzan covers for Raiders of the Lost Ark or Big Trouble in Little China, and just like see, you know. I just like I love that. Like if that were the cover of something, I would definitely want to keep it in my house. But it just gets to a point where you're like,
Well, that's beautiful.
It is gorgeous, especially the one on the top right. Colin, you look amazing.
Thanks.
You look a little like a football player or a
I always
hockey player.
wanted.
But you look at it at the same time, and I'm like, why am I keeping all these things? It's one more thing for me to dust, and I'm never going to watch these DVDs. I'm never going to get around to watching that DVD again. It's just not going to happen. Like Replacement Colors, I'm never going to watch that movie again.
See, the worst thing for me, and this is a true thing that I'm like, fuck, why'd I even start this, is Disney movies. Because it's like...
Because then you got to buy all the
They're
crappy
coming out.
Disney
It's only
movies.
out of the vault for a limited
so
time.
they have
I
this
know.
game on lock with the whole vault thing.
They're smart.
Oh, the struggle's real. Like that's the thing that they've been doing since the VHS days, but now they do it again and again and again. And with the Blu-rays, it's like if you don't get those things when they first come out, like, and those things never drop price. Disney Blu-rays will always be $30. Like that's just what they are, unless you miss the vault time, and then they're $90.
So like $90?
Yeah.
Why?
You have to buy them on eBay. You have to buy them from like other people
Limited
that bought
edition,
them.
bruh.
So like
And they
I
never
can't go
come
get
back.
Pocahontas
Colin,
right now.
let's start flipping these.
Pocahontas
Blu-rays.
right now is good because it's not in the it's out of the vault. But
Oh,
it's gonna be
okay.
hard for you to find it because that was from like last year's run. You got to stay on top of this shit, and it sucks because I'd spent way too much time doing this, and I go to the store with my friends. I buy the shit, and I've only missing like I think 3 total. I'm missing Pinocchio, Fantasia. Those are the only ones I can think of.
You don't
But,
have
like,
Fantasia? Fantasia's awesome.
Lady and the
But-
Tramp,
I got that. I literally have everything.
Little
else.
Mermaid.
Those are like $90 each.
What about the one Steamboat Willie? Do you have that? Is that on somewhere?
It's not on Blu-ray, but
Animaniacs.
it's crazy. They're almost at the point now where every Disney movie, every Disney classic, the one.
Do you even go like? Do you get the ones that are like
out.
Chippendales Rescue Ranger movie or something like that?
The Rescuers?
Oh yeah, whatever that one. No,
yeah,
not
The
the Rescuers,
Rescuers
but
is
like
awesome.
when they do the random spinoffs
So
of the
here's the
Disney
thing.
TV shows. Do you buy those too?
Aladdin 3, Jafar needs glasses.
Yeah. You
Aladdin
have
3
that.
King of Thieves, which is awesome, and Aladdin's not on Blu-ray yet.
I've never actually
which
seen the
is
Rescuers,
bullshit.
so we should watch it together.
Rescuers
by the way.
is
I've never seen
amazing. It's so good. But there was a set of the classics that they call I'm blanking on the names right now, but I think it's just Walt Disney classics. And there's like 52 of them. Frozen was the newest one. So I buy those. I don't buy.
So does that mean it's a movie
planes.
that they're actually like this is a Disney movie?
There's a designated set
Okay.
of Disney movies
Done by Walt Disney Studios proper, probably.
Yes,
Got
yes.
it.
I do buy some of the sequels if they were good, like Lion King 2. Which
There's
awesome.
a Lion King 2?
There's Lion King 2 and the Lion King 1.5.
Does Broderick do the voice for those? Matthew Broderick?
Hell no.
No, I think he does.
Does he really?
Yeah, and for Aladdin, Robin Williams did not do the voice of Genie in the second one, but then he came back for the third.
Yeah.
That's weird.
I was
He
reading a
didn't,
story.
the reason
hard
he
times.
didn't do the third or the second was because he said that he would only do the first movie if they didn't give his character top billing on the poster. And I don't know if you guys remember the poster cover of Aladdin, but he's like
He's the biggest thing on
entire
it, yeah.
top part of the thing.
Yeah, he's the
He was
biggest
like,
name
what
in
the
it.
fuck, guys? So he was pissed. But then he was like, well, Aladdin's a big deal.
Oh.
And then there was the Aladdin cartoon that was going alongside the Hercules cartoon, and there was an episode where there's a crossover, and that was
Hercules
awesome.
is an awesome.
Did Steve from Full House do the voice of the main character in Aladdin 2? Because he did the voice of Aladdin in the first.
He did?
Oh, well, it was the same Aladdin. I'm pretty sure Aladdin stayed throughout 1, 2, and 3 and the cartoon.
He probably wasn't getting that much work.
Drinking all your water,
No, I
sorry.
noticed. Don't worry. All right.
You right there?
Yeah, scratching my back. That's the Game Over Greggy Show,
Wow.
everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. As always, if you like the show, you can pick it up as an uncut, unedited most of the time MP3 at GameOverGreggy.bandcamp.com for $1 each and every Friday. If you don't think we're worth the dollar, we don't think we are either. You can wait until the next week when every topic is broken out one by one over on YouTube.com/GameOverGreggy. Then you go buy t-shirts at DistrictLines.com/GameOverGreggy, like this new Team Fat one.
Boom.
It's awesome.
Boom.
I like it a lot. I've been looking at myself in the mirror a lot. I like it a lot.
Looks cool.
Yeah.
I did a good job.
It's a window.
You did a great job.
Thanks.
Is that what it is? It's kind of
This mirror over
it's
here
kind of
that's
a mirror.
transparent. and
I
lets
can
air
see
through.
myself as clear as day in it. That's not.
Hey, that mirror.
At what point does the window become a mirror?
When it's 100%
That's too philosophical for me.
reflective, rather.
I think that's the opacity over there.
The opacity on that is probably at a 10% right there. That's a window. And it's only because of the screen behind it that you can't really see through it.
I can see
Also,
pretty
because
much
your
perfectly.
screen really needs to be clean. Do you see all the dust on it?
Yeah, you can see how Mike left it open all the time, and that's what happened.
What an asshole. What a jerk.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back next week. Until then, it's been our pleasure to serve you.